All right, everybody, we are live Thursday night forum. Arsenal. Hey, I'm calling at the start of season 9, Arsenal fan circle here. Um, if you haven't already joined the circle and joined the forum, pull up a chair. You're all welcome here. And
Have we
let's get
really been
to it.
doing it that long, Ray?
We've only been doing it 8 years now. And listen, it's a unique perspective because we've been here when we've been trying to find the best players. We've been here when we've had the worst defeats. We've been here when we've been scratching our head. Are we headed in the right direction under Unai Emery and then under Mikel Arteta? Well, I think the proof has been in the pudding with Mikel Arteta. Happy that we vacillated between, um, 10%, 20%, the sliding scale, as Stan will call it. Never wanting Mikel Arteta out, but waning one way or the other, and then eventually overcoming Pep Guardiola and that Manchester City juggernaut. Um, and we beat Pep. Are the only team um, to ever beat Pep Guardiola in a close title race. So there's plenty of more words that come from me, but wanted to pass it over to Stan and Tony. Stan, how you doing?
Yeah, good. And all the time that we've been doing this now, and this is the ninth season of the podcast. I think I came along in season 8. This is the first time that we go into a new season as champions. That's never happened before,
Yes,
you know?
yes. And one thing that has never happened before in modern times for Arsenal has been to repeat Premier League champions or the First Division League champions as it were back then. So that's I'm going to set my goals for this season. You know, when you start a new job or you start into something new, you set yourself some goals or aspirations. I'd absolutely love Arsenal to go on and dominate the Premier League again, and to, go two in a row. That's one thing that I want to see this season. Um, Looking at the landscape as well, and we'll get into it. I think we're capable of doing so. Anything else, Stan?
Well, as you're talking about setting goals, mine are always the same. They're going into every season at this point, my goals are, the quad, win everything. Do you
You
know
have
what I mean?
lofty
But then obviously
aspirations.
as weeks and months go by, that changes depending on what you're seeing, right? But going into it, your goal is win everything.
Yeah, and we'll get into the news of the latest news
Uh,
this week, the Pep Guardiola stuff. We'll get into that, but last season they were fallible. Last season they dropped points, and we were able to get a lead on them. They came back on us, but we were able to hold steady for the last 5 games. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing
Health check first.
okay. Uh, get, got got injections in the eyes today, so eyes are
Jeez,
watering.
I don't ever want to do that, but
It is not fun.
Did you say injections in your eyes?
Yes.
you have to keep your eyes steady, right? You can't like
That's like
move your eyes.
clockwork orange or some shit.
Yeah, and what's bad is like first they start giving you the numbing drops, then they dilate your eyes, then more numbing drops. Then you get back in a room and they just start really giving you a numbing drops. Then in comes the iodine into your eye.
No way.
Then a big fucking needle because your eyes
So
are
the,
dilated.
the numbing, the numbing of the eyes makes you not want to turn and look somewhere else, right? So your eye has
Uh,
to stay
that,
steady.
that that's part of it, and
Okay.
part of it, so it doesn't hurt as bad when your
I
eye
don't
gets.
imagine if the needle. It's bad if the needle is in your eyeball and you actually glance away. That's pretty
Yeah.
bad, I would say. You
Yes.
know. Well, more power to you, Tony. I couldn't. I mean, if I had to, I would. I'm sure, but more power to you. Anything else, Tony? We've had your health check. You're about to
we still have my shoulder replacement, but we could hold off on that till another week.
any Arsenal talk for your intro, Tony?
And just ready to get the season started.
Yeah.
Still curious on our outs, who were to sell, who were to loan out, and still think we need fullback and winger cover.
Yeah, the Premier League starts tomorrow. We're playing
I hate that
Coventry
we get
City.
these Friday starts. We get so many of them.
Yeah, it's nice though. It's nice we get to kick off as champions. We're the first ones to kick the ball, Langer.
But why do they have to play on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays?
For
It's
our
fucking
entertainment,
ridiculous.
Tony.
Just play on Saturdays and Sundays and be done with it. All you need to do. And Tuesday and Wednesday when you have to move games around.
It is what it is. I mean, we're the only team playing tomorrow night. So let's get 3 points.
And another thing, I hate that we get like 3 weeks of football, then we get a 3-week break instead of a 2-week international break.
Oh, okay. I know we get 5 games under our belt before there's an international break.
Yeah, a 3-week international break just after the World Cup.
All right, let's get into some comments here. The good folks in the chat box. BX Gunners at the door, Stan. Greetings, everyone. Tis the time of the year once again. Premier League starts tomorrow. Noe in the house.
Right, Noe.
I believe it's Noe anyway.
Yeah.
Used to be that. Maybe it's Noe, maybe it's not. Hopefully it is. Dennis Bergkamp. After 8 years, this is the first time we're entering a new campaign as champions. We're entering the promised land. And Sean's in the house as well. Afternoon, Sean. Gents in chat. Tony's going through the full Total Recall experience. Exactly. A new name in the house. Hope you stick around. Sporty J9631. Join the forum. Be part of a group here. A bit of a bummer with the Bruno injury news today. I saw that, Stan. Bruno Gamara is injured.
So did he come with an injury, or has he done that in training?
Hamstring, right?
How did that happen? He just had a medical.
It had to be in training. Yeah.
He literally stepped onto the training pitch and pulled a hamstring.
Well,
Is the Arsenal training that much more rigorous than at Newcastle that his body was like, what the fuck? What's going on?
Yep.
You know what I mean? What's going on there?
It's a muscle injury. Arsenal, of course.
Now, since we have the Bruno, I mean, the news of the day will kind of guide the podcast where we're going to go here, right? But since the injury to Bruno Guimaraes, there's been some talk about Zubimendi and being surplus to requirements on this transfer window. There's a lot of transfer news floating around. We have to sort of how would you say, evaluate the news and understand what's good news and what's bad news. That's what I would say, right?
And see if it's a fake Twitter account or not.
Yeah, I'd see it with the fake.
For me, after all that Vinny Jr. stuff, I'm all transferred out probably for the next few years, man, because that was wild. I got sucked right into that as well. I got right sucked into it, you know, constantly checking for updates and all of that. So I'm out now.
Don't you think there was a point in time where it could have been possible? Maybe
exactly. I was thinking you hear about those positive courses, like positive thinking. You can will things into existence. So I spent most of my time just like trying to manifest it happening, to do my bit.
So, Stan, we'll talk about the Community Shield, but you know,
I have good and bad news for you, Stan. We'll be linked to him again, but it will be 6 years consecutive linked to Vinny Jr.
Oh, he's going to be like the new Julian Draxler.
Yeah, the new one. Or
Yeah.
Adrian Rabiot, the new Adrian
he
Rabiot.
Higuain or however the
shout.
fuck you say.
We do need a
his
new one
name.
of those, don't we? Maybe it's Vinny Jr. That's a
Well,
good shout.
I was shocked when Tony said he had some good news because you don't often hear some good news from Tony. You know, it's always doom and gloom.
It is not.
Why we don't do this? Why we don't do that? So Tony Bruno got injured during halftime, as BX said. Um,
Half time.
that was why Declan Rice came on at halftime. He had ice wrapped around his thigh at halftime against City. Some of the transfer news that's been swimming around has been Zubamendi going to Chelsea or Zubamendi going to Real Madrid. My thoughts on that was, we have Declan Rice, we have Bruno Guimaraes, but you're going to need Zubamendi, you're going to need the likes of Miles Lewis-Skelly. You're going to need a healthy amount of players to cover the midfield load that we're going to need to go through this campaign.
Exactly.
We
need to have enough people now so that there's enough for Mikel to pick good teams for some of those cup games without him having to panic that who he picks might jeopardise our push in the league. You know what I mean?
He's a polished up Norgard.
Yeah, so I was always interested in keeping Zubamendi. There is some validity. There is some truth to the fact that Zubamendi got a little tired toward the end of last season and faded.
Is that a reason to sell him then?
No, no, absolutely not. It's a reason.
Right.
It's a reason to protect him this campaign, right?
Exactly. We probably we'll probably get more out of him in those individual performances because he's not being spread too thin. Let's say that goes for everyone. Now that someone like Declan Rice doesn't have to play every single minute of every game, that means that when he does play, he's going to be in better condition, which means he'll play better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we've probably got to, so that hopefully we're going to see players, their levels will raise because of that. They're not running on fumes at certain parts of the season because the minutes have been shared around. So, they'll have more 7, 8 out of 10 games than they will maybe 5s or 6s. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And maybe it will be the lesson of the Norgard taken into this season. Like, one thing we can say about the first half of last season is Christian Norgard didn't get enough minutes. And it's not about Christian Norgard getting the minutes. It's about protecting the likes of Declan Rice, the likes of Odegaard, the likes of Zubamendi in the first 3, 4, 5 months of the season. Although I am a strong believer of the first 6 months of the season gives you a platform upon which to build for the second part of the season.
Well, what it did help create, though, towards the end of the season, it did help create the emergence of Miles Lewis-Skelly in the midfield.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that kind of proved to be like a nice little boost for the midfield, right?
Yep. Nice little bump. And Miles Lewis-Skelly proved himself in midfield, and that takes us kind of nicely into the Charity Shield. The first goal stand after 1 minute against Manchester City.
It's funny that because when you're looking at the TV and it shows you it comes up like the goal scorers, and then it has their name, and then you have a number next to it, like the minute that they've scored, and seeing Calafiori and the number 1, it's just like that's just crazy.
Yeah.
1, the first minute.
Yeah.
That's just
Arsenal.
That's just mad.
Arsenal jumped on Manchester City pretty early in the Charity Shield. A lot of action on the right, on the inside right channel, and the ball's funneled back to Miles Lewis-Skelly. He skips to his left and plays Tony. Tony loves it through ball, right? Was that a through ball, Tony?
That was a through ball.
No look pass.
Yeah, the no look pass. He skipped past one of the Manchester City players. I forget who it was. I think we're going to forget Manchester City pretty soon. Um, the way they may show up this season, who knows? But Calafiori, Tony, very, very composed finish by Ricardo Calafiori.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good shot on him.
Yeah, we all remember the Calafiori goal up there at the Etihad a few seasons on his debut season. I think that was his
Yeah.
first goal for Arsenal. So
Well, I did hear that. I was reading or heard in one of his first interviews that when he came up as a child, younger years or whatever, he did play as a striker or a forward.
yeah,
So he does have experience playing in that part of the pitch.
do you remember what was the Welsh player who played Bale? Gareth Bale.
Yeah,
He was a left back, and
that's right.
progressed with Spurs to left wing and was really, really good for them. Got his move to Real Madrid. I have been thinking in the last season or so that Calafiori, I don't think he's going to be Gareth Bale, but I think he could progress in the same way. You know, be a little bit strong going forward down that left wing. Maybe
Be
even
like
be a left
Saka.
winger.
Be like
Yeah,
Saka.
yeah, maybe even be a left winger. BX said hopefully by some miracle we keep Ethan Waneri. It's gonna be it's tough, right? Tony mentioned outgoings. We have to maybe accept or expect some outgoings as well. Um, he's behind Damon and Miles Lewis Skelly, Ethan. So there's been some talk about that, Stan, with Waneri.
I'm kind of like maybe we're at this stage now where rather than us having young players that have that show promise and talent, and then just as they're getting to their peak years, that's when they leave us and go off to bigger and better things, right? So we've done all of the groundwork for the team that's buying them. Maybe it's the other way around now for us, where we're more about buying players who are going to help us for the here and now. Yeah, there will be some youngsters coming through, but look at Edgery Konza. We've gone out, and the replacement that we need to come in and help us because of what's happening with Saliba, which has forced our hand, and also at right back, we haven't gone out and brought in some young guy. He's going to be like, we've got a lot of promise, and it's going to be good. You know, we haven't promoted anybody from the academy, and we haven't gone the other way of bringing in some unknown who plays in the Austrian league, but we believe is like a diamond in the rough. We've gone out and spent big money on someone that's already doing it, playing week in and week out in the league. That doesn't need to, to have that kind of settling in period. We've gone out and probably done one of the best things that you could probably do in the situation when there's lots of other options. And I think that's where we are now. So why can't
What
we?
would you, Stan?
But hold on. But why can't we sell a Waneri, and all of that comes in as profit because he's come through our ranks? But you put in a buyback clause, so let him go off and start playing regularly somewhere else. And if in 3 years' time he's hitting the heights that we're hoping that he could reach, and he comes into the market again for another move, at least we'll be in the front of the queue to say, yeah, we'll go for that, or no, thank you. Keep our options open, rather than his pathway is blocked at Arsenal. He kind of, from what I'm gathering, he's the one that doesn't really want to play on the right. And even if he did, you've got Saka, Madueke, and Dalman. Where is he in that pecking order? And then in that kind of a central midfield area, you've got Odegaard, you've got Eze, who play in that area. Depending on the formation as well, it could be a Marino,
Yep.
or even maybe Havertz.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're doing there. So where's he going to get his minutes at Arsenal?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? His pathway seems a bit blocked.
Yeah.
Or maybe alone.
Tony. Yeah.
Could loan him, but it just to me, like hear this promise and see brief glimpses of him, then they're moved on, and it's happened a lot more recently. These
Yeah,
players have been leaving the academy, never given a real shot in the team squad, but they're still your Max Dowmans and other ones that go on there. But
mm,
I just always like to see these guys at least get a chance. It's not like
yeah.
Reese Nelson that's been here for 7, 8 years now that still at the
Yeah.
club.
I listen. I think he put up some good numbers a couple of seasons ago, Ethan, when he first burst onto the scene. But
Yeah,
the inconsistencies of younger players, it's always going to be there from one season to the next. You're going to get a young player has a purple patch, he plays really well, and then he's going to have some difficulties. Even I think when we sent him out on loan, he didn't play consistently. Was on loan, and that can be telling as well. Um, the real big thing that Stan just alluded to is you can name all of these players throughout this team, and one of the last players Stan mentioned was Mikel Marino, who is a very senior player, and who, as we know, can do big things for you as an impact, even as a substitution. He's
you
able
can
to
win your World Cups.
score goals. So that's the kind of competition. When you are where we are right now, the best team in England, and comfortably in the top four in Europe, each and every year we're going to have a chance to win a Champions League finally. And this season we should have an outstanding chance to um, repeat as Premier League champions. There's not going to be a lot of places for these kinds of players and this kind of profile of player. And as Stan has also mentioned, we've gone out and now flexed the muscles that we have from winning the Premier League and being in the final of the Champions League to go and pluck. That's what we're doing. We're plucking players from our competition. We've plucked a big player from Newcastle in Bruno, and we plucked Ezri Konza from Aston Villa, and these are Premier League proven players that can do a job for you. And the age profile, we're in a position now where we need to push on and turn this thing into a bit of a dynasty, you know, and create history. We need to go on and get two or three more Premier League titles under our belt, grab a few cups on the way, and potentially and hopefully win the Champions League. Because you know what? When Manchester City had their dynasty, they did all of those things. When Liverpool were in their pomp, they did those things as well. So, this is the time now where I think we can be partly cocky and mostly confident, Stan, maybe, to go on and do these things, you know?
Yeah, but when we kind of veered away a little bit, didn't we, from the Charity Shield?
Yeah, I know. We weaved in and out. We bring it back, bring it back.
Well, we were talking beforehand where, I take it as a serious competition. People
Yeah,
say, oh, it's a glorified friendly. I don't see it as that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a competition, right, which involves, to get into that competition, you either have to have won the league or the FA Cup. And if one team has done the double and won both of those, then you have to finish second.
yeah,
It's a competition. There's you get a trophy at the end of it. The managers put out serious teams. They want to win it. It goes on the manager's CV. It's a world away from the Emirates Cup that we have, at the Emirates during the summer.
yeah,
Completely different thing, right?
yeah.
So I do take it seriously, and I do take it as putting down a marker. And we certainly did that against Man City.
Yeah.
I mean, we really were. We really were all over them. There wasn't a set piece goal in sight.
Yes. Open play Arsenal.
Yeah.
You love it. You love it. Listen, we will score from set pieces again, but I do want us. I've been calling for this, as you know, last season when we won the Premier League. I've been calling for this throughout the summer. We need to now open, as Arsene Wenger would say, take the handbrake off, open up the gears. Let's take it out on the highway. Let's take it out on the motorway, and open this thing up, and be more prolific going forward. Be more offensive. Be more attacking.
When
Score
we
more goals.
when we started that game, some of our key players weren't in the starting lineup. There was no Saka, there was no Rice, there was no Saliba, there was no Timber.
Yeah.
In that starting lineup, and there was no glaring, sort of like mistakes or anything going on. It was really good stuff. So I mean, just looking at the bench that we have, and we always say, I think for me, our biggest fear in the season is injuries, and we always seem to be a bit unlucky. And look, our new shiny toy, as we just mentioned, Bruno Gummy Bears, he's not even going to get an opportunity now because but we've got enough to cover that. That's why you don't sell a player like Zubamendi.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay, that's why you don't make a move like that. The situations like this, right?
Yeah,
because there may be some more hamstrings or muscle injuries throughout the season, which is going to give Martin Zubamendi. But then again, if you use everybody in the right way with the right minutes, maybe you don't get those injuries as often in the first place, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're not getting those injuries, so you're not plugging holes. Everyone's getting more, they're getting a more share of the playing time. That's in a perfect world, right? But going back to that, the Charity Shield, fantastic performance. I mean, Martin Odegaard looked just like the Martin Odegaard I've been waiting to return.
From the World Cup, right? The Martin Odegaard.
He did look good in the World Cup, but playing in an Arsenal shirt, it's been a couple of seasons now where he's had a bad run of it, being subbed off half time sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
He looks really good. He did look good in the World Cup, and he's looking good from what I've seen. Pressing, leading the press. Which way are we going to do it from? We're going to go from the right or the left. He's the one that's like leading it, not looking like he was coming as deep as we've seen him, popping up in the box to be available quite frequently. Scored a goal, but other than that, he was popping up in the box to be available, quite frequently.
My biggest fear from last season, as you know, I probably sound like a broken record at this point, is we played almost every game last season available to us, except for 2 games in the FA Cup, a semi-final and a final in the FA Cup. We played every physical game possible last season. And my fear was coming out of a World Cup. We've already seen it with William Saliba. That there would be a knock-on effect from the World Cup. But not only that, like the players that have the minutes in their legs, the comforting thing for me is you got the likes of Miles Lewis-Kelly, who has stepped to the forefront in Zubamendi's absence. Who else was I going to mention? Odegaard, who was injured last season, as you mentioned, Stan. Odegaard injured last season. Now he can come back and beat. These are like players who have not played big minutes or lots of games last season. Mikel Merino had the injury around a year ago, or maybe November, December. He came back and was a part to play in the World Cup. He could be a big influence on the season coming up. So, whilst we have players like Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka who have a lot of minutes in their legs, we also have players like Miles Lewis-Kelly, Odegaard, and Mikel Merino, who could have some energy to use in the first 2-3 months of the season.
As I said, Eze as well.
Yeah, Eze also. Yeah. But the Charity Shield, we'll wait for Tony to come back. There's a debate to be had, right? Whether it is seen as a worthwhile trophy, whether you count the trophy or not. Why don't you start that off, Stan? Want to talk about that?
Well, I've already said, haven't I? For me, it's a serious competition. You know, you've got to earn, you've got to get into, being able to play that match. You have to have qualified by doing certain things, either winning the league, winning the FA Cup, or if one of the teams has done that in a double, you have to finish second. It's a competition. The managers the managers take it seriously. As I say, they put out strong teams.
So is it the fifth? Is it the fifth available trophy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you're in this, if you're in that competition,
right?
If it's available to you, right, you go for it.
It's an invitational. Sean said, "Man was 2 weeks ahead of anyone on Konza agreeing personal terms." I think we're talking about Bertha here. Knew Mazu Skelly wasn't leaving all summer, and says Bertha and Heinz new deals soon after our type of deal gets finalized. So, yeah, we're able to move pretty fast when it comes to a defender.
Yeah, we always seem to, don't we?
I saw somebody say that, and you can't discount that, right? Mazu Skelly to get a good injection of minutes now. Yeah, with no Bruno, you would think that Mazu Skelly would be the midfielder that might play tomorrow. That's for sure. Foden was the player that Mazu Skelly jinked past, with the left-footed ball
right.
on. Foden's looking a little bit past his sell-by date. Did you guys see the shooting practice that Calafiori was part of recently? He had the best strikes beside Eze. No, didn't see that, but that's interesting. You know what I mean? Calafiori, I always feel confident when Calafiori he doesn't get in front of the goal too much, but when he does, he's able to put him away. And Donnarumma really didn't. He had nowhere to. Calafiori was straight through with that through ball. Sean said Ethan's most likely leaving on loan this summer, or will leave on a deal that is similar to the one Real Madrid had with Como. Future control with a buyback clause. Info courtesy of African. So that's encouraging. Will Salmon be loaned out now? We'll have to talk about that, Sam. We talked about this on Thursday.
Too young, 2016.
Yeah, too young to be loaned out.
Yeah, you don't let go of a 16-year-old you're developing to go and play. What other team's going to take him and give him first team football at 16? No one.
And Dowman last season, had this change in a separate dressing room as well.
Yeah, he could get some minutes with us, but he's not going to go out and loan and play any meaningful games. He might as well continue playing in. Was it the Premier League 2? He probably plays in that. You know what I mean?
We talked last season. We talked last week. We talked last Thursday, Stan, about the injury to William Saliba and how the right was going to look. Timber looking injured a lot of the time. Ben White looking injured a lot of the time. So we bring in. For me, I've warmed up to Konza. I've warmed up to this idea of Konza. It was, it was talk at first, and then it became really, really something that could happen. But I'm like, now Konza can fit both two positions in one go, right?
Yeah, he's comfortable at right back or centre back. Apparently, as well, he already lives in London, so he was commuting daily up to Midlands, up to Villa, already living in London, and is friends with Saka and Eze.
Yeah. I saw that as well.
So he's already had a good insight, and it's not like he's coming in cold, right? He's got people. It's like when someone becomes an associate with the mob, right? Someone's got to vouch for you. So he's got two people that are already vouching for him, right? So,
yeah, he's good. He's good, Nick.
Yeah.
Bring him in, Nick. He's good. He'll do a job for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Bukayo Saka's WhatsApp group just got a little bit bigger now with Ezri Konza joining it. Well, yeah, perfect profile. 28 years old. You get 3 or 4 years out of the player, and some say that he's going to lose his place when William Saliba comes back, but you never know with Urian Timber. And I believe Ben White might move to Everton. There was some news about Ben White maybe moving to Everton.
Again, if you've got quality in the rotation, it means that someone like William Saliba or Ben White or Timber, for example, don't have to play as many games. If you've got someone else there who's going to share the load, you can trust. If you trust that person, that's what it should be about, right? Obviously, if you look at someone like Norgard, for example, brought in, hardly, to me, that just looks like, for whatever reason, when it came to, everyone says how much he was a cheerleader in the dressing room or whatever, right? If you're into that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
On the pitch, it didn't seem that he was trusted, because he didn't, there were times, for example, when you could see that players in the midfield were like literally running on fumes, and Norgard was twiddling his thumbs. So much so that Mikel Arteta said, you know what, fuck it, I'll get the kid who's been playing at left back and I'll stuff him into the midfield. Meanwhile, Martin, all the guys going like, hello,
over here.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows what the reasons why? We can only go by what we saw. But hopefully now, if you've got players that are sharing the load because they're good enough, you don't get as many of these muscle injuries going on.
Yeah. Gary's in the house, so I want to say hello to Gary. Hello. How are you doing, Gary? Time to win in Europe finally. Definitely. I mean, I would have definitely taken that win if we just stuck away 2 penalties. The frustrating part about that is we never worked the goalkeeper. When you take penalties, you want to get them on target and actually work. And then you can just, what can you do if the goalkeeper saves it? You just put your hands up and said, well, the better goalkeeper won on the day. Penalty shootouts. They're not.
One can also only hope that Eberechi Eze has been working on a new penalty technique as well. Because that what he's doing now, that shit ain't working.
That's what I was about to say. Like, penalty shootouts are not just about the goalkeepers. Everybody thinks it's about the goalkeepers and the onus they have to save. It's about the players as well. They have to be able to hit the target, and place it. So, unless you're going to have balls of steel and do a panache down the middle, or, you have to hit the corners high, low. You got 4 areas of the goal to aim for. Sometimes it's much more a mental thing than a physical thing. But yeah, I definitely would have taken a win, a Champions League win, but the question, yeah, definitely would have, But I think we'll be back. I think we'll be back there. You know what I mean? I'm comforted by that stand. It won't be another 20 years.
Under Mikel Arteta, since we've been in the Champions League, every year it's been to the next, an improvement. Right. So, I mean, where can we go from here? Where can we go from
one more spot?
Where can we go from, taking the incumbent champions all the way down to penalties? There's nowhere else to go from there other than just fucking win it.
Yeah.
So
one more step.
Yeah, you got to remember as well. Up until that point, if we'd won that game, we would have won the Champions League as invincibles because we hadn't lost the game.
Oh yeah.
We hadn't lost the game in Europe.
Mental, yeah.
We hadn't lost the game in Europe until we got into that final. The final was the only game that we lost.
That would have been crazy because our rival, we would have definitely went. We're invincibles in the Premier League and invincibles in Europe.
I mean, we did really, but we gave a good account of ourselves in Europe.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
So with the team being stronger. And obviously, again, as we keep talking about health being on our side because we have a problem with the health side of things, if we can keep some of these key people fitter, why can't we do more than what we've done in Europe? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Rather than having to play a more defensive game, where we've got everybody on the pitch where we can go out quick out of the gates, similar to what we just did against Man City.
Sean said, and the reason why how we can make this a dynasty is we win the Premier League last season. We are finalists in the Champions League. Now we go on. A dynasty means you're going to do something each and every year, and you go on and do this, do the same or better again.
I have a question for you, right? If you had the choice to go back-to-back Premier League winners and only get to the Champions League final again but not win it, or win the Champions League but come second in the Premier League?
I'd take the latter. I'll take that Champions League now. Right?
I used to think that before we'd won the league, right, as you know. But I do think now that we've won the league, going back-to-back and still getting to a final would be a huge, if you're talking about the word dynasty, which, another word could be empire.
Yeah.
Look at Man City. They've done it 4 times back-to-back. 4 times, man.
With resources that were questionable, right?
So if we can go back-to-back, I think Man United have done it 3 times, right? I think Man United have done it 3 times. The last time Arsenal did it was in the 30s. So it's a big achievement, So if we could go back-to-back and still get into the Champions League final, I would take that, because it still shows that we're right there.
Yeah.
We are right there. Do you know what I mean? And it could be like the following year when, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think that a back-to-back Premier League thing for me, just slightly. And you know how much I want the Champions League. I really want that. But for me, I think there's a bigger picture here. It still makes you in that top percent.
You go back-to-back as Premier League champions, then you're going into that following season for a three-peat as well. You know what I mean? Not just a repeat, but a three-peat. Sean says the Charlie Shield's a trophy, and it's only in England it's not considered a real trophy. Every other league takes their version of the Super Cup seriously. Clubs counted in their trophy counts, don't they?
When other fans say, "Oh, it's only a glorified friendly," that's because they're bitter. Look, as I said, in order to be in that competition, you have to be one of the best teams, right? You have to have won the league or the FA Cup. In the domestic competition, that's the best. So these other fans go, "Oh, so they're just bitter that they can't say that." You know what I mean? Their team is not in that caliber of winning the league or the FA Cup.
We're in that period that they all dreaded, Stan. They all dreaded.
That's why they talk it down, because because they're not in it. They don't run in them circles.
Arsenal are now in the period that our rivals dreaded. They dreaded us winning the Premier League, having the mental, that mental equipment of knowing that you've been there and you've done it before. That's the hump that Arsenal were trying to get over in the last couple of seasons. They did it last season. So now they're going to know as it goes, right? They're going to know how to deal with the difficult situations in April and May next season. Sean said,
Surely you must have heard, over the last few weeks, if you've listened to any radio show or anything when they're talking about the upcoming season, whether it's on ESPN FC, Sky, whatever, when they're talking about it, on Talk Sport, when they're asked who they think is going to win the league next season, they're all saying Arsenal. There's maybe one or two that say something else. I've heard one say Chelsea. But they're all basically putting their eggs in that, and they're doing it through gritted teeth. But they're going with, but we are kind of, at this moment in time, we are favourites. For some reason, we are favourites. We are, right?
It's not going to be easy because other teams will be there.
But what I'm saying is, you watch, right, all of these pundits and all of these ex-footballers or what have you in the media and all that saying Arsenal are going to win it. You watch, right, as soon as we hit a little road bump, I've seen it before. Seen it happen last season. As soon as we hit a little road bump, you watch how they start getting ready to leave the ship. They're right ready to be like, they're ready to come out with like bottling. They've got the bottling memes ready. ready.
They can't do that. There's no more
We
problem.
may be the favourites to buy all of these people, but we're not like loved favourites.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like we're Liverpool
We're not the anointed
or
ones.
Man United.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not in the anointed. Yeah, we're favourites, but they're like fucking. They're not like, yeah, Arsenal are favourites. They're like fucking Arsenal are favourites.
Yeah, it's
It's
begrudging.
that.
It's very
There's a
begrudging.
difference. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? The difference. So don't be falling for like everyone loves us because they don't. They think it's insufferable. They can't. They're like, oh, no. If they go back to back, fuck. If they win Europe, fuck. No.
Who will be? What will be the project that would be the media's darling? Would it be Chelsea again under Xabi Alonso? Would it be Liverpool under
Liverpool. Yeah.
Adoni, Arani,
Yeah.
Barella,
Liverpool or a Man United,
Carrick?
They'd love that. They'd love that story.
They would.
They would love that story. I remember when Ollie was at the wheel. Do you remember? Ollie was at the wheel. Look how that turned out.
A resurgent Manchester United.
Ollie's at the wheel.
If anyone believes that, the Premier League referees get together, if anyone believes in the conspiracies of the Premier League, they're probably in a room right now thinking, what would be the best Premier League story? Arsenal.
I tell you, yeah, it's not a darkened room. It's actually a castle in Transylvania on top of this huge mountain. It's really difficult to get to. You can only get to this location by horse and carriage to get there for the meeting. Do you know what I mean? And you have to go when the sun's gone down.
Yeah.
Well, usually when the meeting is held. Do you know what I mean?
So
some people say that they've seen goats and chickens being taken in through the back. I don't know. I can neither confirm or deny any of that. But they've been heard that when the clock strikes 12, blood-curdling screams have been heard coming from within the walls of said castle.
So the storylines could be Xavi Alonso, a resurgent Chelsea, Michael Carrick, and our Manchester United and Arsenal.
Tony, you're back. Well, I can go and get a beer. Thank you.
Manchester United and Arsenal. Yeah, it's musical chairs here. Manchester United and Arsenal. What would be, Tony? I don't know if
as Stan finally stopped talking about winning with Quintet, talk about the community shield.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much
Okay.
What would be the media storyline? Arsenal Manchester United rivalry again? Would it be Xavi Alonso, Chelsea, bringing Chelsea back? Would it be Maresca taking over Pep Guardiola's?
I think it would be go with Xavi Alonso.
Xavi Alonso and Chelsea. Yeah. Somebody new, somebody who could take the Premier League by storm, but
somebody with a rested crew.
I have my doubts about Chelsea.
But they'll have a rested crew all season long. Okay?
So what are we going to see with Xavi Alonso? Are we going to see a Bundesliga story, or we're going to see a La Liga story in the Premier League? His experiences from Real Madrid to I think it was it Bayer Leverkusen or Dortmund versus Dortmund. We'll see what happens. I'm going to catch up with the chat here. Let's chime in with the chat, Tony. Frankly, Calafiori should have had 2 goals, but didn't even test Donnarumma on the volley. Yeah, that volley was way over. That was a great cross as well. We have to talk more about the Charity Shield. We will sprinkle in the other 2 goals as well. I had some wine a little bit earlier, so it's going to be a fun podcast. Saka should have also
Ray's slurring his words.
Yeah, Saka should have also scored, or the very best, least tested Donnarumma. Should have been 5-0. Imagine that, Manchester City losing 5-0 to Arsenal. It was already a comprehensive defeat by Arsenal of Manchester City last Sunday. Raya also with 3 fantastic saves, even if one was called back for being a foul. I think Salmon would do well with a loan to League One Luton Town and playing regularly under Wiltshire. Okay. maybe help them get promoted back to the championship. He's also jokingly said Damon on loan. Uh, you can't read Mikel Arteta in the press conferences. City lost their first final. Chelsea did. PSG lost their first two. Exactly, Sean. I agree with you. You have to be in the Champions League numerous years to actually get to the Holy Grail. It's almost a rite of passage nowadays to lose the Champions League before you win it, unless you're Real Madrid. Europe, Sporty says Europe definitely because Arsenal has never. Yep, there you go. Big old big ears. We want big ears. Win the Champions League and come second. We need that Champions League in our trophy cabinet. We need to shut those loud mouths over at Chelsea. So yeah, that conversation, that table that we can't sit at, Stan.
I know. I was a big. You know what I feel about that. Before we won the league, just in case those that are tuning in, right, don't remember.
Yeah.
We always asked before we won the league last season. If we had the choice of winning the league, first league in 22 years, or the Champions League, I was the same. Champions League. We've never sat at that table. I've seen us win the league before, on a number of occasions. I've seen it, right? I've never seen us lift the European Cup. But now that we've won the Premier League, winning it back to back, that's really that's where you like getting into that kind of Man United, Man City territory, where you create a little dynasty. Do you know what I mean? And you really are the team to beat, while still going strong in Europe and getting to another final. Who knows what would happen in that next year after that?
Yeah.
The sort of players that we're able to attract. And when I was saying earlier about, if we have to sell someone like Ethan and put a buyback clause, everybody at Arsenal, I think the management, the ownership, they realise that if we are going to build a dynasty, now is the time, because all of the other teams that we would consider as our competition, they're all going through a state of a rebuild of some sort.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Chelsea, they're probably going to be playing with three at the back, because that's what I think Xabi Alonso usually likes, if I'm right. They're going to have to go through a restructuring, right? A settling period. Liverpool, they got a new manager. And again, this new manager is the second manager coming in after their legacy manager. It didn't really work with Slot. He won in the league, and then he was gone the next season.
He won the league because Salah played really well, and Arsenal had so many injuries. There was no one else there.
But Areola is now coming in, and he's really inheriting Slot's team, because they spent big last season, right? They spent almost 300 million on two players.
Yep.
Just two players, right? Wirtz and Isak. And then you got to throw Ekitike in there, Frimpong, Kirkes. They spent a lot of money. And if they're going to go big on Bradley Barcola, which is going to be 140, are they going to have much more to spend than that? So you're going to have Areola really inheriting. It's going to be like, do you remember when Slot took over? He basically inherited Klopp's team, and the only person he brought in was Chiesa.
Yep.
So it might be the same for Areola, where the only person he brings in is maybe a Barcola, and he has to work with the older team.
Yeah, some of the lessons from Liverpool last season in the transfer window, I'm holding Arsenal to those lessons. And
also Man United with Carrick. Now we're going to really see what he's made of, and some of the signings I'm not too sure about if they really are a Manchester United level.
No.
So
so
the time for us is now.
Yeah.
Even Tottenham, they've made some. They're making a lot of signings. I mean, I'm not so sure about Savinho. Just because he's Brazilian, he's a one-name Brazilian, doesn't mean I looked his stats up. One goal.
Yeah, let's stay with that a second. And you can go into the stats as well, Stan. But basically, all of our rivals are paying over the odds for these players. We have a valuation. I'm quite happy with what we've done. We have a valuation of players, and we're not willing to go beyond those valuations. So we are paying pretty good price for the players we're getting. We're not paying an extra 20-30% on top of that.
But if we end up winning the Premier League, or the Champions League, or both, or Premier League and an FA Cup, or you know what I mean, we end up building on what we've already done. At the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
If at the end of the season we've done that, and it turns out with all of the signings that we make in this window, let's say with even if there's more to come, let's say if you combine it all together, let's say we end up paying maybe 15 to 20 million more than what we should have for those players combined, but we end up building on this season. No one's going to care about that.
Yeah.
It will be worth it to win another Premier League or a Champions League or whatever it may be. Do you know what I mean? If we end up having to have overpaid on all of our transfers by around 15 to 20 million, it would have been worth it. Do you know what I'm getting at? If we did pay maybe a little bit more for Bruno than we should have, if we have paid paid a little bit more than Konza than we should have, if it ends up getting us to where we want to get, that small amount that we've overpaid, it's worth it.
The little bit is
you know
fine.
what I mean?
The little bit is fine, but the Chelsea is a big bit when they spent a lot more. Tottenham have spent a lot more on those players. Shout out to Rule, who's joined us as well. Rule, good to see you back in the chat here.
All right, Rule. Long time.
Sean said, frankly, if Arteta's going to start throwing around the word dynasty, and I don't know if Arteta used the word dynasty.
I didn't hear that. I used it.
I used it. We're using it. I just put it in the title here because that's what we want to see.
And we're not talking about the TV show that was similar to Dallas. We're talking a different dynasty.
Yeah, exactly. There's no Sue Ellen in this one.
No.
I'd even say a treble is a must because only the Manchester clubs have. We should be the only club too. Wow, a treble as well. I mean, I'm for it, but these things are tough to attain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doubles and trebles.
Especially Stan's quintet that he wants us to win.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly. Here we are on the eve of a new season. We should have dreams and aspirations, right?
Think big, man.
You really want to make history, Arteta? Go win the quadruple. Technically, quadruple if you count the shields.
Quintet.
The quintet. There you go.
Apparently, Konza is what we paid for him was the highest paid for a defender of his age, I think, in the Premier League. I don't think in the world, but that shows you where we are, where we're thinking. I'd rather they be doing that and trying to think to themselves, we want to build in this. We're not fucking going to gamble. We're not going to gamble and get this guy in for like 27 million who plays a division below, but we think he could be good. We're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to, throw a kid in who might not be ready. We're not going to go to some Austrian league and bring out this guy that no one's ever heard of before. But we think, because one of our scouts said that, you know what I mean? He looks like he could be good. We're actually we're trying to do the best, that we're not cutting corners. And I think that's good to see. And again, we saw that with the Vinny move. We saw that with the Vinny move. So we're seeing the ambition of the club. And now there's even, let's talk about Osimhen. Let's talk about Julian Alvarez still isn't going away. Apparently, if there's Alvarez, there's more happening there, right?
Yildiz,
I don't know too much about that, but that story's floating around as well.
Yeah, young Turkish player. Even Barcola. I kind of wouldn't mind.
That's kind of Liverpool, isn't it? I thought that was all kind of
No, not yet.
140 million now. That's a lot. That's a lot, isn't it?
Wouldn't you Yeah, but it'd be kind of. And this is the thing I didn't want Arsenal to do, but I'm kind of tempted by it.
That's what I was just about to ask you. Would you be happy then to spend 140 on Barcola, but you were happy that we didn't spend 117, whatever it is, 120, somewhere around there, for Morgan Rogers? Do you think that the talent between them is the gap is so big that you don't mind paying 140 for Barcola? Is that what do you know what I'm getting at? What is it?
I think it's a little high at 140. If it was 120 or something, I probably would go.
But it's not right. It's 140.
All right. I think it's too much then. I gotta look away. But I do think that Barcola would be a good signing. I've seen some people say he would be a Martinelli 2.0, the same production. I think that's a little bit disingenuous. I think that Barcola could work well with our team, but it's a pipe dream right now. But Stan, the Vinny money is there to be spent, right?
I mean, I don't know too much about Barclay. I don't watch the French league. Obviously, I know that he's at Paris, but what I seem to notice was that when it's a Paris game, he's usually a sub, and Doué usually starts ahead of him in the pecking order. But I noticed that the World Cup, that Barcola would be a preferred choice ahead of Doué. The other way around, in Didier Deschamps' eyes, Barcola was ahead of Doué.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what that means. It was just something that I noticed. I noticed it. I was watching the World Cup games. I was like,
It's the difference between.
I just noticed Barclay's playing, Doué's on the bench. Usually, when I see the Paris Saint-Germain lineup, it's the other way around.
It's the difference between Enrique and Deschamps, right? How they view the game. I think Deschamps might be slightly a little bit more defensive than Enrique. I could be wrong in thinking that.
No.
Rule said, I like that we won the trophy, but regards to shots and goal, I will estimate that Man City had more shots and goal than us. But the quality of David Raya stood out, and the quality of our defending. David Raya made some good saves, for sure. And Ben White had a fantastic block. That just shows that we don't give up in those situations. Yeah, what is Coot up to these days? He's up in the top of the mountain, and
It's like the castle.
he's in the castle somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Raya and the best pair of centre backs, exactly. Maresca is out of his depth, right? So I kind of have a hot take here.
Yeah, go on.
Talking to you about the Pep Guardiola, and we can talk a little bit about that on Prime.
Mental. Absolutely mental.
I actually feel that
Mental.
Maresca, I agree, Maresca's out of his depth, and I actually make a prediction he won't see the end of the season. He might get fired before the end of the season.
Again, though, he's coming into that position where he's coming straight in after the legacy manager. Straight in.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like Unai Emery coming in after Wenger.
Yeah.
Slot coming in after Klopp. Although Slot did win he won, it took Mikel Arteta 6 seasons to win the fucking Premier League, right? Slot done it in 2.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm getting at. Like, when you're coming after a legacy manager, David Moyes after Alex Ferguson, Maresca's coming in after the guy that won 4 Premier Leagues in a row, man. I mean, you're talking about fucking building a Dallas. There's one for you, right? There's one for you. 4 in a row. So he's got a European Cup, domestic cups. He's got to follow that, and he's got to come in and follow it when they've lost Rodri, they've lost Bernardo Silva. So some of the key people are out of there, and then he's got to try and bring people in himself. You know what I mean? It's going to be like, and there's a little bit like sometimes as well when you've been an assistant somewhere and then you become a coach. It's a little bit different for some of the players that have known you when you was an assistant.
Yeah.
It's different because the relationship is very more relaxed between players and assistant managers than it is between players and the manager, because they're kind of like a conduit, right? And they're kind of like the ears in the dressing room. They know the in jokes. They'll keep some secrets. And all of a sudden, he's the boss.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can't call him Twinkie anymore. You might have had a nickname for him, Twinkie. I'm just calling, you can't say that anymore. So, it's not going to be easy for Maresca. And funnily enough, when we played them in the Charity Shield, I just looked at Man City and I just thought to myself, it reminds me of Chelsea when Maresca was there.
Yeah. A little bit poor, yeah. Tony's done a wardrobe change. I don't know if anyone's noticed that,
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Nice
shirt. Yeah. He's ready for the casino now.
Going out in the town after this.
Going to play blackjack.
I brought everybody's favorite shirt back.
Yeah, listen, we should
return.
I think Tony's setting the gauntlet down. We need to be a bit more snappier in our dressing for the podcast here. Uh-oh. That means Stan might be going to the wardrobe. I don't know.
Oh,
No.
darn.
All right. Rule said the league is open. Definitely
I'm
agree
kind
with
of,
that. Rule.
I'm
Arsenal would be favorites.
disappointed. I'm disappointed, Ray.
We have the most settled squad. You're
I was
disappointed in
all,
my in what?
I was all in favor of Stan making a wardrobe change.
Yeah, I think that he could give you some competition there. BX said we paid our dues and had to wait for our time to come again, whilst others rose and fell. Yeah, it has been a long, steady rise through the league from couple of eight place finishes, winning the FA Cup, fifth place when we could have gotten fourth, three second places, and then finally number one. So very important that maybe we kick on and put some more on this Dallas on the Dallas Ranch dynasty. We are in the right direction with Champions League and Premier League. We lost the Champions League due to a defensive error. If we go back to progressive possession, we will be fine. I think we need players who can hold on to the ball as well at the top level. PSG had that. Um, you're all you're all well. Greetings to all. I hope. Uh, I hope you're doing well, Real. Of you three, who would shoot JR? Definitely Tony.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great question, Sporty.
I'm just missing a big 10
You
gallon
know,
haggis.
you know it would be Tony for
And it wouldn't
sure.
be much of a mystery because he'd probably tell everyone.
He's got an evil laugh
Well,
as well. Stan,
weapon might be in my backpack.
it might be, it might be in your wheelchair, right? The weapon
My
might be
wheelchair
there.
back. My wheelchair backpack.
Your wheelchair could be fitted with the Breaking Bad mechanism. If you've seen Breaking Bad, you know what I'm talking about, right? Ringing the
Yep.
bell. Ringing the bell. Um, yeah. Who's Bobby Ewan in this one? I don't know. That could be me, maybe. I don't know. I'd rather keep Martinelli than sign Barcola. Yeah, I've heard this before.
Can I just say, well, if I had to be anyone out of Dallas, it would probably be Cliff Barnes. I love Cliff Barnes.
You liked him. He was such a
Yeah.
nice guy.
It's such an like the underdog, wasn't he?
He was. He was the underdog.
Always
Yeah.
trying to get one over on JR, but JR would always somehow find a way to just like turn it all back on him.
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
indeed.
yeah.
What,
No,
Tony?
I just hear the soundtrack of Dallas going on in my head right now.
Yeah, we could do a video of that. Really, do not rate Barcola for 120 million. That is crazy. Okay, listen. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I did like Tavares over Tierney. We all know that. It's going to be hard to replace Pep. Not going to be easy for him. Yeah, let's dive into that, Stan. So, is there much more to say about Pep? But like, he was just wedded to football, right?
Well, there's a new 4-part documentary that's available on Amazon Prime
Yeah,
that came out on the 19th. It's only available in England and Ireland and some other places like Sweden. So in order to watch it, if you like, in the US, you have to use a VPN. Just put a VPN, say you're in London, and then it will come up in Amazon Prime. And it's kind of like, you know, when they've done that all or nothing. They've done it for Arsenal. They've done it for Tottenham. I think the first one was Man City, wasn't it? They were the first one.
yes.
I think they were the first one in that series, and I think this is kind of like a tack onto that. And it's the last 2 seasons of Pep Guardiola at Man City. So I'm guessing that this contract to have this show and have it aired, it must have been probably part of the contract from ages ago. I'd like to think so, because when I watched it, I thought to myself, why would anyone connected to the club want this to come out? It was gripping for me, because you were really in there, in the changing room, you know, at the beginning of matches and at halftime and at the end of matches and other things behind the scenes. But you really saw, like, you know, you have this image, right, of Man City being, you know, sometimes you know, go back a few years, you'd be like, I reckon some teams are looking on the calendar and they might be fighting for relegation, and they've got City coming up, and then the game after that, they've got a team that they're fighting with. So they're just, you know what I mean? They're going to just like not take the City one too seriously.
Not the real emotion.
Maybe not put out a stronger team, and having that reputation, it gives you're winning points already, right?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of image that they kind of had. But you really got to saw the frailties of the mentality when things started to go wrong, because they went on like a 5 or 6 run when the season started of not winning a game.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You know, and it's quite eye-opening, because when they lost the first game, when he went to the team talk afterwards, Pep was like, I will never be angry with you for losing the game. Never. You know, I'm doing a shit impression.
As long as you try to play football or something, right?
If you try, I will always be there, but I will never be angry with you for losing, guys. Never. You know what I mean? But when you got to like game 4 and 5, the team talks each week were just getting more and more like heavy. And you've got to remember as well, maybe this is the worst run that I think he'd ever had in his career. That patch that he had over those 2 years, he'd never had those kind of results before, right, in his career. So as good as he is, he's never been tested in the bad times, and these were the bad times.
Yeah.
Now he has to somehow, the way he's talking with people, how he's trying to motivate them, it's totally different when you're constantly winning, right? Now he's in a different place with the same faces, and it's not working. And man, some of those team talks, man, were just like eye-opening.
The obsession that he seemed to have with football, or he does have with football. He struck me a little bit like, I'm Irish, right? So he struck me a little bit of a Roy Keane. You know, these are the kind of people who have standards that are so high, and they expect those around them to have the same standards, that you just get this from time to time, right?
For me, the best way to book end it was, you've seen the first episode, right?
Yeah.
But something happens in the first episode, something happens in the last episode, which for me kind of like bookends it. In the first episode, I think they lost a European game to Paris Saint-Germain, and he's in the changing room and he's saying to the team how that evening they were out at a restaurant
Yes.
and with his staff, right? The staff, not the players, the staff. And he goes, and they were eating and talking and eating and
laughing.
And laughing. He goes, and I just sat there. I didn't eat anything. I didn't drink anything. But they were, and he's running around doing this gesture of them like fucking cramming loads of food down their throats, right? And when he was first telling it, I thought he was talking about the players, like this is what they were doing. And then he said, my staff were doing this. I was like, fuck, he's really like throwing them under the bus here. Like those people that are standing right behind him. And he said, and then after he said that, he said, I did not like that. Because we have to win and blah, 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 blah. Do you remember when he told that story?
Yeah.
Well, in the last episode, in episode 4, it was one of the coaches that was talking, who had been working with him.
Yeah.
And he said he was out one evening. He goes, one evening I went out with my wife and we were with another couple. And goes, we went out for a really nice meal. And he goes, and we didn't talk about football once. He goes, not once. And he goes, and while I was thinking in the middle of eating this meal, he goes, I thought to myself, I'm going to tell Pep about this. Meaning, he got Pep's side of it, right? Saying like his coaches went out that evening after the Paris Saint-Germain loss, and instead of being there all glum and that, they were eating, they were living there, they were eating, talking and laughing and joking.
Yeah.
They'd switched off. And that guy at the end, he was basically saying, like, I went out one night, basically with my wife and another couple. We didn't even talk about football, meaning like Pep can't do that. When you're with Pep, that's all he talks about.
Yeah.
They said that. He goes, I know we just had a lovely evening, some wine, something to eat. He goes, and it made me think of Pep, and it made me think, I'm going to tell him about this. meaning that Pep doesn't do that. It's constantly all about football. If you're with him, that's all you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I thought that was quite a good bookend. So you got his perspective of it, but then he's not like other people. This is what the coach, the coach has another life as well. He has family, probably, right? Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Whereas Pep is just 24/7.
Yeah, and I think Arsene Wenger, of course, was another one we know that lived, breathed football, but he was able to find the balance, I think, more than Pep. And Mikel Arteta also, you get the sense that whilst he finds it difficult when he goes home to his family to switch off, he is able to do that, I feel. You know what I mean?
But if you can find it, I highly recommend watching it.
Yeah.
When it gets to the stage when they lose to Tottenham, and then they were winning against Feyenoord, and they were winning 3-0.
Yeah, they were 3-0 up, right? And they got back to 3-3.
Yeah, some of the reactions to some of these matches is just like insane. Insane.
Yeah. And sometimes you have the camera above the board. You know that the board where you're moving all the pieces of the players around. You have the camera above and panning down over Pep, and all you see him is like just moving pieces on the board, like. And for me, I'm thinking, what good is that doing you? You're just moving pieces on the board.
Well, I thought the same thing, but in a couple of episodes, he's moving things around, and then he starts talking to them, and he done it in a match against us in the Caribou Cup. Went in at half time, told them where the weakness was, what they needed to do, and they went out in the second half and followed those instructions, and they won the game.
Yeah.
And then there was another game where he was talking about done the same thing. He was moving the stuff around, like to himself, and like going like that, moving the stuff around. And then he stopped, turned around, and started talking to him and told him that, right, how they scored their first goal. He goes, you kind of chip the ball right over into that area, and Erling is going to be here. Blah blah blah. He goes, we need to do more of that. And then I listened to because I wound it back and listened to what he said, and then they went out into the second half, and they properly executed it. And it was Erling that got the ball. And you can hear the commentator say, like, he's got the ball. Oh, he's going to go for a chip. He's chipped the keeper. And before that, Pep was going, you have to chip more. Chip, chip, chip. Yeah. So sometimes you can see, like, things like that. I'm not a football manager, but you can think to yourself, like, this guy obviously knows what he's fucking talking about here.
Yeah.
He knows what he's fucking talking about. Because I just listened to him explain. I wound it back because I heard it and I wasn't really listening. And then I saw the goal. And I thought, hold on a minute. And I wound it all back and I really paid attention. And I was like, they did what he asked them to do. It all went in somewhere. Because like you're talking about, sometimes when he's moving it around and they're sat there, I think to myself, like, I'd probably just zone out.
Yeah.
I would probably zone out, not really listening.
He talks about where you're going.
He talks really, really quickly, right? Really, really quickly. And then you zone out, you're thinking about, like, that bird you're going to see later. And all of a sudden, you hear your name. Isn't that right, Stan? And then you're like, huh? You're like, what was he? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I must have, did he say something about what I was supposed to be doing? But they obviously are like, they're tuned in because they executed what he wanted. So, but some of the stuff that he brought into those meetings, man, it was really like, seriously, I was like, who would want this out, really? Who would really want this out there? So that's what I'm saying. They must have done this deal ages ago, and it just turned out that it turned into gold for them because they didn't know that the last two seasons of the guy that had achieved so much were going to be so bad. Because you remember, he renewed his contract.
Yep.
Do you remember? He renewed his contract.
He
was bringing that into the team conversations. I didn't renew my contract just for the money or just to stay here. It's because of you and all of this, like, really, like, getting, like, I'm not going to go too much into it, but some of the stuff was real personal.
Yeah, he was getting emotional about it, that's for sure.
And I thought to myself as well, once you start crying, because there was one scene where he was talking to them and he said, this is what we have to do, blah, blah, blah. And he mentioned Carl Walker's name, right? And Carl Walker, instead of just listening, he butted in. He challenged him in front of everyone. He says, why are you always mentioning my name? He's like, and he went, Carl, you're not listening. And he went, no, instead of just shutting up, he went, no, every time we come in here and you're talking about stuff, you've always got to put my name in it. And I think he even said like fucking as well, like fucking. Do you know what I mean? You've always got to do that. And he said something like, he challenged him like, if you're going to keep doing that, there's going to be a consequence or something like that. But it was really like, you know what I'm saying? He really like, this is the manager and he's the captain.
Yeah.
And then he got dropped for a couple of games. And then there was when they do like a press conference thing, they said like, the presser there, they asked him, why was Carl Walker not in the lineup today, right? And then he said, well, I'm going to tell you that Carl Walker basically came to him and said that he wanted to play abroad at the end of his career. And, if that's fine, if he wants to do that, we respect him and everything like that. But I'm only going to pick a player whose mind is here right now.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's fair enough. But that's what he said to the press, right? That was his thing to the press about why Carl Walker was leaving. But in front of the team, he was completely different. He basically really dug him out. I didn't want him to leave, but you know what I mean? This is your captain. And it's like looking at the team, goes, what did you do to your captain?
What did that mean? What did he mean by that? Like,
what did you do?
Did they treat him well?
What did you do to your captain? Did you grab hold? He done that physical thing when he ran towards the board, and I thought this is really bizarre. But it was, and then he was basically sort of, I think, trying to run it like, I still call the shots, because he had just had that situation. I don't know how long ago it was, where him and Carl Walker. This is at half time. There's still football to be played, and Carl Walker is fronting the manager. And when the manager even tried to quiet him down, he weren't leaving it. So that's what, that's what you call, like in the army, insubordination. That's like a private trying to have a go at the sergeant. It's insubordination. That's a big fix. So he done that in front of everyone. Now he's leaving, but he had to. I get it what he said to the press, but to the team, he still had to like paint a picture like, I can't let anyone else front up to me.
Yeah.
This can't carry on. Because do you remember when he then started saying, he started saying as well, when Carl Walker had to go at him, and he's saying, yeah, but it's because I love you all, and if I am the problem, you have to let me know. You have to let me know if I am the problem.
Go. Yeah.
And then he started talking about his passion and that for everyone, and then he started crying.
Yeah.
Right? He started crying, and then he just walked out of the dressing room. And I think it might have been full time or half time, but I can't remember. But I thought to myself, that's it now, man. You start crying in front of the team, that is it.
Yeah.
That's it, man. And leaving and walking out and leaving. That's
You couldn't. Would you ever see Martin Odegaard and Mikel Arteta get to that stage? Your manager.
You know what I mean? In that situation, and if the players fronting up like that, I would have just said, you know what, Carl, go and take a shower now, and I'll talk to you about this later.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're no longer part of what we're doing right now.
Did he? Was he saying to the other players, what did you do to your captain? Like, was he accusing them of not fighting for his captain, or
making him run away, basically?
I don't know. I couldn't, because he kept repeating that, didn't he? What did you do to your captain? What did you do, huh? And he kept looking at someone. What did you do? What did you do to your captain? And I was like, I couldn't myself. I was trying to like, what's all that about? But yeah, I mean, it was done. My eyes, I was like, you know what I mean, glued to the screen.
Yeah.
But if this was Arsenal, if this was happening at Arsenal, I wouldn't want that to be seen like that. And it just made me think that we're completely in a different. Pep is really intense, and I can see where where Mikel gets it from, because in that one that we did, that All or Nothing, that was on Amazon. Yeah. There were some scenes where Mikel, when he really wanted to have, he could be quite intense, and he
went after Savage. Yeah, he went after Savage, and then halftime in the Newcastle game when we didn't make top 4. Do you want to be in the Champions League? Do you? He's going horses. He's shouting.
It's because I think he'd been away. Okay, going to that bit. He'd been away. He'd been ill, and he said something that he was watching them at training. So there must be cameras or some sort of. I've been watching you walking there, going la 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 la. No! He just span around and went no, and like thumped the desk. But his voice went so high. I reckon dogs in a radius of about 25
Yeah.
Like kilometers. All of their ears popped up. He's like,
Said he would have sent them home.
no.
He said if he was there, he would have sent them home. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and if I was there, I would have sent you all home.
Yeah.
But yeah.
These are the fogging standards, as they say. You know what I mean? Um, it's hard for me to see. Probably does happen to Areola or Xavi Alonso or Michael.
Yeah, it's hard for you to see, right?
But
Miss
Pep talking
McQuiston
about his
in the
wife, man.
comments.
When he was talking about his wife, I tell you, boys,
Yeah.
I met the most beautiful woman ever, the most beautiful woman that's ever walked on the earth. And
Yeah.
I lost her because of the passion. It was really like, and I lost her, but we still love each other. And I love it. And it was really like getting a bit, really like personal. And then he was like, and I've done all this for you. And what have you given me back?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Basically, like saying, like, this job has cost me my marriage.
Yeah.
Basically. And I fucking stayed here for him. It was really like, fucking hell, man. This is like heavy. This is really heavy. So, yeah, if you can get to watch it, it's really worth watching, man.
I was looking.
We don't really get to see this. You know what I mean? We don't get to see any of this.
I was looking up that the clip was the full 40 minutes, I think it was, of the first episode. So I was able to see the first episode. Hopefully more will come out. I'll be able to see them. Sean said he's either splash the cash of 100 million for Yildiz and force Juve's hand, or keep Marinelli until next year while possibly strengthening with a Rodrigo in January. For me, do you feel there's going to be another signing before the end of the window coming in?
Me?
Yeah, Tony. Yeah,
I think there will be, but if you're going to ask me about Yildiz, I can't tell you anything about him. I don't know much about him at all. I can't say, yeah, get him for 100 million, get him for 150 million. Oh no, that's not worth it. I don't know anything really about him. I just know a lot of people speak about him, but I'm the last person to tell you anything about that guy.
Yeah, I'm not really. We could talk about Yildiz. We could talk about.
I know as much about Yildiz as I did about Zolis, and I still know nothing about Zolis. I just know that he came from Belgium. I don't know about these players.
Dan, we know a little bit more about Zolis now. We'll talk about Zolis in a moment, but we know a little bit more.
But you know what I'm saying?
Because what we've seen him do for Arsenal in the
same way that I've never heard of Fabio Vieira when he showed up. I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah. So what is the nickname for Zolis?
I don't know, but I do know what his song should be. I do know what his song should be.
Okay.
And I'd love to say that it was me that come up with it, but it wasn't. It was Tanner, the bearded gooner. And he reckons that his song should be, whoop, whoop, is the sound of the Solis. Whoop, whoop, the sound of the Solis. Which is, no, you've got to be into hip-hop then. It's a KRS-One song, which is whoop, whoop, is the sound of the police. So he's changing police for Solis. That's the pun. But that could sound quite good with like a lot of people doing it, because it's one of those songs that has a sound effect in it. You got the whoop whoop, which was always good with a crowd.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I had a Manchester United fan sing a song to me about what player did they sign from Brighton?
Oh, is it? What's his name? Cabela. Oh, what's his name?
The young kid.
But Baleba. No, Baleba.
Baleba.
No, I'm a believer.
I'm a believer. That's the one.
There you go, right? See, I didn't even know it, right? But I'm like believer. They done.
You got it.
Then I saw his face. No, I'm a believer. That's got to be.
That's what it was.
What else could it be? What else could it be? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, believer. I'm a believer. But I don't think that he
is the sound of the Solis. Just get it going. Let it ferment. It works.
Okay. I don't know that music. I don't know that song.
I do.
Yeah, Tony.
I love KRS-One.
Go on YouTube afterwards. Just put in KRS-One, Sound of the Police, and then you'll hear it, and you'll be like, okay.
Let's do KRS-One, and you might like something.
Stan, do you want the club to spend some money on a left wing option?
Well, ideally, I'd like to see a left wing option come in and a forward option come in. And
Wow,
the forward
really?
option comes in because, maybe perhaps Gabriel Jesus has left the club, which means that there is a space. So I'm not being greedy. I'm not stockpiling. I'm not saying we'll just get another forward in. Gabriel Jesus is like, hello, I'm still over here on 250 bags a week. I'm trying to be like, you know what I mean? So in a perfect world, Gabriel Jesus goes off somewhere like Napoli, wherever it may be.
Yeah.
A replacement comes in that area, and we bring in a left-sided attacker.
He wants to stay in the Premier League, though. That's my problem.
Who?
Jesus.
Jesus wants to stay in the Premier League.
Maybe he goes to Aston Villa. Because if Watkins is going to go to Saudi Arabia or something like that, which I heard something about.
Yeah, Al Hilal.
You want to get some ointment for that.
I know.
Nasal spray.
Huh?
No, so it's a joke. Don't worry.
I know it didn't land on me though.
Yeah. You went hello. And I was like, yeah.
Hello. Pep literally started
Get some gargle. Huh?
Gargle.
Right. It's all right. I'm entertaining myself with bad jokes.
Yeah, I know. You're spinning rings around me right now. Pep literally started self-harming on the touchline. Insane scenes.
You still didn't post my comment, right?
What's that?
You didn't post my comment, right?
Oh, we haven't got to it yet.
There
you go.
Okay.
We're gonna do that. There we go.
But yeah, you asked me who I'd bring in, and I would say that what we've done so far is good. But if we could bring in a forward to replace Jesus and the left winger, that would be really good.
Yeah.
And perhaps Martinelli it leaves as well, because we only bought him for 6 million. Remember?
Yeah.
If we can sell Martinelli for about 45 million, maybe with some add-ons or something like that, If we can break the Iwobi record,
break it.
We can break that. All right. Which is yeah.
Let's go
40 million in a pound.
We paid 6 for him. It's a lot of profit there.
Would it be the first time of 40 million in a pound?
Yeah, I mean, for Martinelli, it would be a great investment.
Wasn't it 40 million, right? In a pound?
When? What?
Our bid to Liverpool.
Oh, for
Suarez. Yeah, Suarez.
40 at a pound. Yeah,
but can I just say, I'm not
and that sounded like a fortune then.
Can I just say as well, I'm not trying to push Martinelli out or anything like that, but I do think that, in the game of football, sometimes you've got to talk about making an upgrade. Yeah. And if we were talking about bringing in a Vinny Jr. and we've got Martinelli, there's a big gap between there, right? So that shows you then that there is room for an upgrade. So I'm all about making an upgrade if it's possible. We've supposedly done the same with Trossard, right? He went out, Solis comes in, Yeah. But, if we're not happy with Martinelli, it's obvious that we're not happy there. Otherwise, we wouldn't be looking at Vinny Jr. It's obvious that we're not happy with Gyökeres, or else we wouldn't be looking at Alvarez. We would be looking at Alvarez. Do you know what I mean? There's obvious to me that the manager thinks that we could be doing better in a couple of those places. Yeah. So I'd like to see that happen.
Let's look at the situation. Bruno Guimaraes comes in, and Norgard goes out. So that's a clear upgrade in our midfield. So we are going to take those opportunities and take those shots when we have the opportunity to upgrade. Yeah, Julian Alvarez, some would say, would be an upgrade over Victor Gyökeres. Yildiz, move Martinelli on if needed. He's had enough years to show what he could do, and I think in recent seasons Martinelli's been better in the sense that he hasn't ran down into the corner. I always remember Martinelli would go into the corner. It's almost like he was trying to kill the game. You're in injury time in the 92nd minute.
That's what he should be doing.
He was doing
this. But he just dribbles it out the back every time.
Yeah, he's like me playing. He's like me playing PlayStation. He just dribbles out in the corner
See, I always look at when I look at the striking options, right? There was one of the reasons why we brought in Gyökeres, and not just because it's Gyökeres, it could have been Sesko, right? Could have been Isak. But the reason that we went into the market for that position, because I think that the coaches, the management, and some of the fans felt that what we had at that time, which was Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, and Marino, that we were still missing something in that area. We needed something a bit better than that, because what we had there, we didn't feel that it didn't complement the rest of the team, right?
Yeah.
So we went out and we spent 65 million, and it ended up being Gyökeres. Could have been Isak, could have been Sesko, but we went and we delved out and spent money for that position.
Yeah.
Now, it's obvious that I think that the management, I mean, look what's happened. We've gone out, we've brought him in, and now, if everyone's fit, we've gone back to the Havertz well. And I'm not saying that anything to do with that. I'm not saying because I don't like Kai Havertz or anything like that. What I'm saying is that we wanted to move away from that. We thought we could do better. Not that we wanted to move away, we thought we could do better. Yes, Kai Havertz could do a job for us, but we felt we could do better in that position. We spent 65 million on a player. It doesn't have to be Gyökeres, but we spent 65 million on a player. And for whatever reason, it looks to me that the manager has gone back to what he originally wasn't satisfied with, because what he's brought in his eyes, isn't quite what he wanted, isn't quite up to fitting in with the style of play that he wants. And I'm being kind when I say that, right? And that could be anyone, and it happens to be Gyökeres. Otherwise, if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't be looking at someone like Julian Alvarez.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be looking at someone like Victor Osimhen, because we'd be happy, right, with what we had.
Yeah. In general terms, I agree with everything you're saying in general terms. But I also will look at who we have. We have Havertz and we have Gyökeres. Why can't we just have two good options, which they are, two good options to play up front, and to pick Havertz when you need him, when you think that his skill set is going to suit us on the day versus that opponent, or Gyökeres, who will also have the qualities versus that opponent.
I would say this, right? When you're looking at Gyökeres and Havertz, it's not necessarily the output. What I would say is, right, depending on when each one is playing, does the team as a whole look stylistically better when Havertz is playing, or does it look visually, stylistically more loose, creatively when Gyökeres is playing? And I would say Havertz. And the reason is it's got nothing to do with the individual Havertz versus Gyökeres. For me, I think, and I'm not a manager, but this is just my opinion, I think it's about the style. And I think that Kai Havertz, he plays more of a false nine style than a target striker, an advanced forward, if you will. Whereas Gyökeres does.
The hold-up play.
Right? Whereas Gyökeres does. So if we look better playing with a forward that has more of a false nine tendency in his play, right? Then if we're willing to go and spend loads of money on the best left wing there is in a Vinicius Junior, we should be doing the same with that position and that style. And for me, I understand now why they want to go for Julian Alvarez, because he is in that false nine kind of a style, but he's probably a better finisher than Havertz. So we would be getting the right player for the style that we have, but as the player, it would be an upgrade on what we have as in Havertz. You see that? Does that make sense? So we wouldn't be really necessarily having to really adapt our style of play. So that would be a good addition, right?
Yeah.
You have him and you have Havertz. You can, you still, if one's out, the other's in. It's the same sort of style of play. Gyökeres I would still keep, because Gyökeres does offer you something different, and there may be certain game states where you have to change drastically to what your opponent's doing, and it might mean that you might want an advanced forward or a target man. And hopefully, Gabriel Jesus has left. So why can't we have a world where we have a forwards available in that area. As much as you see how we are in midfield, why can't we have Gyökeres, Alvarez, Havertz, with Mourinho still in the team and able to play in that position as and when we need to? Do you know? I don't think that's stacked. What I'm saying is there's still a life for Gyökeres at Arsenal, even if we do get Alvarez. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be either or.
Moved on. Yeah.
Because Gabriel Jesus is taking up over 250 grand a week on wages, right? That could be used.
Yeah.
So, just my thoughts on the forward line. That's how I would do it if I had the power to make it happen. That's the way I would do it.
Yeah, definitely. The way we've put pieces together in the forward positions has been a little bit puzzling. We had Saka as a ever constant on the right wing, but we've chopped and changed centre forward, and even last season left wing with Martinelli and Trossard. There doesn't seem to be too much continuity in our attack, and that's something that Mikel, in the last we got 10 days now till the window closes. Slam shut, as Jim White would say, to figure it out and make it look good. We're able to get Konza in, and maybe some people are alluding to Konza coming in so quickly as to the extent of Saliba's injury. It might be a pointer as to the extent of Saliba's injury being more extreme, is what I'm hearing as well. Rule said if Maresca tries to change the style of play, he will have problems, but I think he will do okay. More concerned with Newcastle and Aston Villa. They both lost a lot of quality players, no proper replacements.
You said something earlier, and it just came back to me when you said earlier that, you know, with some of our deals, it looks like we take a protracted amount of time to get them over the line. But when it comes to buying a defender, we're right in there. And just as you were speaking there, I was thinking about some players that we've bought. Do you know what I mean? That we've brought in, and it's taken a lot of time to get it done.
Yeah.
But like you say, when it comes to a defender,
it does seem to fit, but obviously you can pick and choose for your narrative. Unfortunately, this current market, 100 million, buys you a decent player with lots of potential.
Or you're buying from Chelsea. Those deals get done very quickly as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Chelsea. Let's go get Madueke. Let's go get Garnacho.
Havertz. Let's go and get William Gallas. Let's go and get fucking David Luiz. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the goalkeeper, Petr
Cech. Yeah.
Throw him in there.
Yeah.
To think we still thinking Rodrigo, who's still not back from his ACL injury. These injuries
we did
a year
Ray,
after recovering. Yeah.
We trumped it all though. We had Colonel Mustard.
We had Colonel Mustard, the World Cup winning captain.
And better yet, Ray, one of the top 10 rated Premier League players in the last 10 years.
Oh yeah, right. That's true. All right, we can go into the second goal now on last Sunday. Solis is a godsend, absolute gem. Sean, for preseason, done really well in those games that you'd look away from, really, because they are just warm-up games. Preseason games are just about getting fitness in your legs, but because we have not solved the left wing with Vinny Jr. or any other player, Martinelli, Solis has got he stole the march a little bit with a good preseason, and now he showed worth in this game as well against Man City.
Well, if I'm Solis coming in, you're thinking, okay, they've sold Trossard, who plays in that position. I'm coming in. They've got Martinelli in there. And, you know, I read social media and listen to the papers as much as anyone, and it looks like there's talk that Martinelli could be moving on. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, they're going to try and bring in Vinny Jr. Okay, so I'm going to be playing backup for Vinny Jr. Is that where I am? Is that where this club sees me? Martinelli's going to go.
Yeah.
I'll be playing backup to Vinny. Then the Vinny thing doesn't happen. And now, before you know where you are, you've got the first game of the league starting tomorrow. And if you're Solish, you're thinking, well, I know I've done well in pre-season. You know,
Yeah.
maybe the manager, maybe I'm going to get a start ahead of Martinelli, and this could be my moment to like try to cement my place, give the manager something to think about. Because right now his pathway is not being blocked. There's no Vinny blocking him. There's no Barcola as competition. There's no Yildiz that could be competition. He's kind of a free run at it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Martinelli wasn't even on the bench for the Charity Shield. That's how much of a free run he's got at the minute. So it's in his hands. Only he can cock it up.
This guy could be a breath of fresh air, though.
Only he can cock it up. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to seeing him, to see if he can take this opportunity with both hands.
Yeah.
He's either going to sink or swim, right?
Yeah. And he could be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
We've seen in our lifetime. I've named a couple of players last week. Brian Marwood and Anders Limpar, Freddie Lundberg. These were relatively inexpensive players that came to the Arsenal. And Sean, you know, and Perez was one. He was okay. He came to Arsenal with some repute from France and Bordeaux, but he definitely made his name at Arsenal since then. Robert Perez, you know.
Sylvain Boultov.
Yeah, these are the kind of players who exceed your expectations immediately, you know, and settle in well. That cross from Saka for the second goal, the intelligence, and it's the intelligence as well we're seeing from Zolis. The intelligence to get that header and to actually head it back across, and actually what it can do is the ball can slide forward off of your head when you're doing that, to actually play it backwards so that Havertz has got a chance to get onto that second header and score the goal.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a different, from what I'm hearing and from what I've seen in the short pieces that I've seen of him, he's a different kind of a winger to a Martinelli. I don't see him kind of hugging the touchline and trying to like dribble past a player. More someone that's going to be in the right position at the right time, will get the ball, and then very quickly make a decision to try and pass to someone to shoot or go for a shot himself, because he's in and around that area. And if that is the case, and I hope that is the case, then that's going to boost our creativity, right?
He seems to have more of an intelligence like Leandro Trossard had for us. You know what I mean? To be able to spot a pass as well is vital. You know, as we saw with the third goal, to be able to find Odegaard as well. You know.
Yeah, good pass.
Yeah, I mean a really basic pass, but you're finding a player who's going to, and you're playing it with the correct amount of pace, so that the Odegaard can get onto the ball and sidestep a defender and the goalkeeper. So Donnarumma was really left exposed on a couple of occasions.
But there was a time, wasn't it, not so long ago, where that pass would have happened. Odegaard would have got himself into that right position at that time and then would have shanked it.
Yeah.
But not hit it hard enough and it goes straight into the keeper's arms. You know, he was going through that kind of a phase. So to see these kind of moves working out, you know, they're pulling them off. They're playing off these patterns of play. You know, it's going to give them more confidence to continue, right?
Yeah, and you can tell when Odegaard fakes the shot, that's a player who's playing with confidence. You only do that when when you have supreme confidence on the ball.
The players are now in a situation where you're not going to see Solis over on the left with bags of space and the ball not coming to him because they don't trust him. They now know that we can give the ball to this guy and he can make things happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He can get the ball to the captain and the captain scores. Those kind of things that when you know, it's just subconscious. You don't mind giving the ball up to that player because you believe that he can be like the next moment to make something happen.
He looks like a difference maker in a lot of areas on the field as well, because he drew a foul from Phil Foden
That's right.
when we were breaking away as well. He looked to have pace on the left wing, so he's built with some speed. We may not see that counter-attacking style from Arsenal because we're going to have a lot of possession. But
I would like to urge some caution. You know, sometimes when you have a player, this is a big move for him. As an individual, you'd have to think that coming, you know, as good as a season that he had in the Belgium league, he's now coming to the Premier League, which is, you know what I mean? Like, just even the eyes on the product, this is a lot bigger than what he's used to, right? He's going to be going into stadiums with crowds and the atmospheres, which, you know, is going to be very different, I would imagine, to what he's experienced in the Belgium league. And not only on top of all of that, he's coming to the team that's the current champions. So I would imagine for him as an individual, this is a big deal, right? This is a big fucking deal. Big fucking deal, right? So I always think that in those situations, you know what I mean? He's going to be, as I call it, at this moment in time, he's probably full of all piss and vinegar.
Yeah.
He's so excited. He can't wait for the next game. He's chomping at the bit. He's literally jogging on the spot, waiting for the next game. He's really excited. So I always think, you know, you've got to give these guys time to settle in, because at some point, he will then eventually find his level and kind of plateau. And we have to just hope that when that happens, that plateau is pretty high, actually. This is the standard. You know what I mean? So we have to, you know, give him an opportunity. At the end of the day, he's still a foreign land to him, foreign league.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like, you know, he's probably not like Konza and already has friends embedded into the club. you know what I mean? Even though he's coming from Belgium, he's a Greek national, right? He's Greek. He's not Belgium.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's coming in. You know, he hasn't got anyone there that can just speak his language and come and have, you know, have the food with us at my place. He hasn't got that, so it's going to take him a little bit of time. But what I've seen so far, I like it, and I really hope that, you know, it continues in that vein.
Yeah.
You know, wouldn't it be nice if it's like all of a sudden it's like, hold on a minute, he shouldn't be the backup left wing. Someone should be a backup to him.
Yeah.
We should be buying a backup for this guy. That would be really good.
I'm sure some Arsenal fans who, you know, they'll tell you they have the highest standards will want
in a perfect world, it would work out that Solis, you know, makes contributions. We keep Martinelli, and maybe Martinelli, it helps him to raise his game.
Yeah,
he's not an automatic pick anymore.
Or the
he's got competition.
Yeah,
and he gets to fight it out a bit with Solis, which helps to raise Solis's game.
Exactly.
And in a perfect world, that would be, you know, if Solis can chip in with, say, you know,
10
in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And how many assists?
I'll
take 10. I'll take 10 and 10.
4 or 5.
I take, you know what I mean? If he came in with a 10 and a 10, I'd be happy with that.
That's a lot of output. But yeah.
But you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
If he could, you know, 10 goals, 8 assists, 7 assists, his first season in the Premier League, and he does stuff in other competitions. That's not bad.
Yeah.
You know, that's a player that the following season could get 15.
These are the numbers we should be looking for. He might actually. I mean,
Vini gets about 15 goals in his league a season. He's around that number in the league. Obviously, there's other competitions, but you know, remember, this is a winger, not a striker. So you can come in with like 15 goals and 8 assists. That's not a bad return at all.
I'm going to be bold and predict that Solis will score tomorrow. There you go. I did it.
That would be nice.
I thought I said it. Rule said Solis is an upgrade on Trossard. I think Trossard actually got injured today. I hope it's not too serious.
Solis plays well, but he comes off in the 60th minute. Martinelli comes on and bags a hat-trick. Throws a spanner right in the works.
Which, you know...
We'd all love that, though, wouldn't we? Wouldn't we all love that to be a problem? Seriously.
Yeah,
No, it's not like Solis didn't do badly.
competition on the
Maybe
left
he
wing.
gets an assist, but he comes off in the 65th minute. Martinelli comes on and gets a brace for a hat trick. That would just be like,
Yeah.
okay, now what are you going to do, Arteta?
We should probably do. Riddy would want us to do predictions toward the end of the
Right
show
back.
for tomorrow's. Yeah, Tony. Rules comments here on Zola's being an upgrade in Trossard. If we get an upgrade in Trossard, which he seems to be pretty good right now in Zolas, that's a hell of a deal, right?
Is he an upgrade though, Ray?
Well, it
Is
could
he
be.
just a younger version? Maybe not as good though.
Yeah, yeah. Remains to be seen. I would love to be able to have that conversation later in the season. You know, if we are able to, and the club will have done its homework. The club will have looked at players. They knew Trossard was going to be moving out, and I'm glad
But it,
Arsenal.
but it's crazy. He had like over 60 goals and assists combined for us.
Trossard.
Yes,
Yeah, I love the fact that the club has.
very prolific.
I love the fact that the club has identified a player like Zolis here, that they are going to, they're obviously going to give him a chance here. They sign him with a possibility of extracting a lot of good stuff from him. So, what's your thoughts? You think Solis is a pretty decent acquisition, Tony?
Yeah, I think he is, but I think we still gotta improve on Martinelli.
Do you think that Martinelli should be sold?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm
I still think we should have took with 50 million from Barcelona, but
I'm gonna be a little bit like Gary here and say I want whatever's best for Arsenal. That's how Gary sidesteps these.
but Gary never wanted rid of Martinelli until like last year. He said, he can go.
Eventually, yeah. Gabriel Jesus has turned down Napoli and basically doesn't want to leave us because he won't get the same salary elsewhere. Most likely, we end up paying him 240,000, paying him 240,000 a week to sit on the bench or play Carabao Cup. Yeah,
Not
that's
like when Gary's
when
favorite player now.
I will just say when we brought Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal, it was with the intention of raising the levels to get into the top four. We
I
didn't
don't think
make
he
it.
did that though.
Yeah, I know,
I
but
don't, and I still think we overpaid for him anyway.
that was the
Either
intention,
way,
though, right?
it failed.
So I don't blame Gabriel Jesus. Let's say he obviously, the party line is I don't want to go to Napoli. I still have more to give. I want to fight for my place.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you say. But inside, you're like, I'm on 240 grand a week. And I
Yeah.
don't want to give that up because
I'm
I'm
not
not going to
moving.
be back forever. And at the end of the day, I don't blame Gabriel Jesus. If that's how he's thinking, I'm not saying he is, but let's say that's one of his. Let's just say that's one of his factors that he's thinking about, right? Like maybe a major drop in salary when he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Why should he have to? It wasn't. He didn't give himself the contract. Arsenal did. They're the ones that decided to pay him 240 grand a week. They're the ones that
265, 265.
265. Okay. They're the ones that decided to give him that, right? Now they're the ones that have got to sort it out. They've got to work out some sort of a, can he go somewhere on loan? And it's like, well, we'll pay 60% of his wages.
I mean, it almost has to be that way.
With an option to buy. Because remember, come January, he's only got a year left. Come January, he's free to talk to anyone outside of the Premier League and set up a deal on a free if he wants to. We don't get anything back. We paid what for him? 47 million, I believe, around that figure. We wouldn't get any of that back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he holds all of the cards, right? If he doesn't want to go to fucking Saudi Arabia or Turkey, he doesn't have to. It's his future, right? He doesn't want to live there or whatever. Same with Martinelli. Think about Martinelli. He's a lot younger than Gabriel Jesus, and he's just won. You've just won the Premier League. You've just, with a team that hasn't done it in 22 years, and all of a sudden people are talking about you to go to Saudi Arabia. You'd be like, what now? Now you want me to go to Saudi Arabia? I'm literally, I'm almost, I'm not even 25. I've still got more to give. Just won, you know, a Premier League. But I did score a lot of goals in the Champions League as well, right? Got us to a final. I really helped to get us to that position. And you want me to like now go to like a much lower, lesser league. So the only reason he would do that is if he was like, yeah, I don't care, I'm going to get loads and loads and loads of money, which some people might want to do. But he holds all the cards, right? He holds all of the cards. If he doesn't believe his career is ready for that move, like Oscar did from Chelsea. Remember Oscar?
Yeah.
He went off, still in his prime, and he made loads of money in Japan and that, right? Up to him, that's your motivation. But why would Martinelli, if it's purely for sporting reasons, why would you leave the Premier League champions to go and play, not even in the French league, you're going to play in Turkey or the Saudi Arabian league when you're not even in your prime yet? That's what I'd be thinking about, putting the money aside, right? I could just take the money, to be fair. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you want to at least stay in Europe.
And I don't know how long Martinelli's got long on his contract. Is it more than a year? He might be in a better driving seat. But they're both in a good driving seat.
Yeah, I mean,
Gabriel Jesus can make if he's still hanging around by January and we haven't found a home for him, he's free to talk to someone else, and then that means we have to keep paying him until the next season, right? Until he leaves. A lot of money.
We're not talking about a free transfer right now, but we could be in about 18 months or a year from now with these players because their contracts probably constructed.
Yeah, Jesus' contract finishes next summer.
Yeah, wow.
We've got a year.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Come January, when it's 6 months left, you're free then. You're as a free agent, you can talk to clubs outside of your league and negotiate a deal so that when in 6 months' time you just go there. And obviously then, the incentive about doing that is that you get maybe a big signing on fee because there's been no transfer fee exchange between clubs, right?
Yeah.
So that's an incentive. I've had to ask them to try and find them a home. But then again, as well, who's going to pay in that money? Oh, we could get you a move to such and such a club. We could get you a move to such and such a club, but you're going to have to take a 30% pay drop. He's like, well, why would I? I can leave for free in 6 months' time. Why would I do that for you? Do you know what I mean?
That's the poison chalice.
I've got kids, man. You know what I mean?
That's the poison chalice of Arsenal. They overspend on players' salaries. So
we do it all the time.
It
keeps on happening.
Rule said Jesus has a contract that ends next June. Arsenal can wait to cancel the contract, but he has to agree. Arsenal can want to cancel the contract.
But then again, that still leaves him free. If they cancel the contract right now, then that allows him to go and talk to another club. But again, even if he wants to go back to Brazil or wherever it may be, who's going to pay him the same amount of money? Do you know what I mean? Why would you? Okay, you get a move and you go to another club, but they're not paying you 260 grand a week. That's not happening. So why would you do that? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It depends on what your motivation is. Again, we don't know the individual, but it just depends on the motivation. But it's like, okay, my options are stay here for another year, 260 grand a week. Come January, I can set up a deal so I'm all ready to go. There'll be a huge signing on fee, even though I'll be taking a drop in wages. Happy days. Or I could just leave now. And hope that, you know what I mean? I hope that I can find somewhere to play, and then I'm going to be a slave to the contract negotiations because I need a job. That doesn't make sense, right?
No, it doesn't. And Jesus' goals and assists over the last few seasons have not been high or plentiful, let's say.
Yeah, he wants to finish his career in Brazil, but he knows that he needs to try to get one more transfer first, then for that transfer, then go back to Brazil, right? Because Brazil will be able to still pay him handsomely, but the 260 grand and all that them days will be gone, right? And everybody's happy, but he can't go to Brazil now because they're not going to match them wages. So that's what I'm saying. Is there an opportunity where you do, okay, we sit you out of a club in Brazil, one that you want to actually go to, you go on a year's loan with an option to buy. You obviously negotiate the price, an option to buy, or no, with a condition to buy, obligation to buy. And during the loan, we'll pay 60% of the wages. Maybe you could do a deal like that. So he's out of the way, he's out of sight, out of mind, and we're saving a little bit on the wages. And then come the end of that season, there's a transfer fee. And obviously then he's going to accept whatever contract they've offered. But he's still, during that loan period, he still effectively gets his 260. We pay 60% of that, and the other club, the loan club, pays the 40. I don't know. Maybe no one's thought of that. I don't know.
Crazy.
Could be done though, right? There's ways you could try and make it work. I don't know.
Yeah. BX said, someone said today, Jesus trying to get English papers after being in the country for 10 years. Trying to get English papers.
Yeah, so you get
citizenship. The citizenship. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking like a tabloid or something.
You thought he was trying to get newspapers delivered to his house,
so he could like brush up on his English or something.
Yeah, the Sun.
Blame the wine bottle. That's all I gotta say.
Going straight to the horoscopes page.
Yes. A Mystic Meg, right? Yeah. Sun Mystic Meg.
Yeah, no, not those. Yeah, not those papers. That's excellent.
Yeah. The husband links were all speculation. He was apparently mentioned briefly, but there was no serious inquiries from Arsenal about him. Also, Joker's rumors are all being pushed by outside sources. Yeah, I think it's very low odds, low chances that.
But there are rumors that he's presenting himself to Barcelona.
Who is?
That Gukerez is. That he wants
how much of it is true? I've read that Mikel Arteta phoned Osimhen to tell him how he'd fit into his plans. I mean, is that true?
You're going to hear all sorts, though, right? You know what I mean? It's just the silly season. We're right toward the end of the silly season here in the last 10
And
days.
A lot of people talking about that Yildiz, but I don't think I've seen Ornstein talk about him unless I missed it.
No. Well, that's just a fake account that Tony has. Not Tony has.
I only listen to Ornstein or Hand of Arsenal. They're the only two that I bother with now.
Yeah. Hand of Arsenal had something.
And also at trustmebro.com. They're very good.
What?
Trustmebro.com.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah. Trust me, bro. Sorry.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you hear that video from? Yeah. Bellingham's going to Arsenal. He told you that. Trustmebro.com.
Or I'm the real Ornstein. I'm the real Ornstein. Rule said, I think Jesus will go. It probably goes to the end of the window. Arsenal is not actually using tactics to force them out. No, I think I don't know. I think there's a sense of comfort where we are right now. With the 3-0 win against Man City, everything seems set fair for a good season. But Liverpool thought that 12 months ago. Let's hope we don't go down that road. The defense is the bread and butter. LOL, says BX. I agree, but let's not lean on the defense so much. Let's start scoring goals. I don't mind winning games 4-2. You know what I mean?
No.
I think that would be nice to actually start scoring some goals. I keep thinking of Masters of the Universe. Zolas is owning that left wing position. EX. So listen, a great couple of assists from Zolas from the Charity Shield. We talked about Konza, very good addition on the right center back position, and the left wing is something we think Zolas is doing well with now. I don't know if I'd be completely comfortable with Zolas Martinelli, but it wouldn't look any different to what it was last season. But
There's also a shout for Eze, right, to help out on that side as well.
yeah, yeah,
We did see towards the end of last season that Eze started to get some spells, didn't he, on that side? Because he went for a while where that was almost like a poison chalice. He had that one game against, was it Aston Villa, where he played on the left,
yeah,
and he got done, didn't he?
yeah. And then the thing
And then it was like that was off limits to him after that.
it
It
was
was
frozen. It was frozen for 6 weeks,
for
something
the
like
left
that.
wing, and then near the end of the season, he got on the left wing again. So
Yeah,
again, I'm just saying, you right, there is another option.
and things like that happen. Like what happened to Zubimendi happens in a season. You get tired, you lose energy, and you lose your discipline. You get clowned on, and then Mazu Skelly's got to come in to help out, which is fine. That's why you have a squad.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If a player is struggling, the other player comes in. A competition is a good thing. Um, we've seen where we've had players like that in the past, and there's not been the striving for competition. BX, I think we're talking about Zolas here. He's got a high IQ, very tidy on the ball, hardly wasted a possession, and is highly efficient. He's also not selfish and looks for the best outcome. That's why I'm thinking Andrews Limpar. I'm getting like Andrews Limpar vibes from this player. I know that physically they're different, but in terms of being a provider of goals, you're either a goal taker or a goal maker. You know what I mean? I think Zolas could be a goal maker.
I was reading an interview that he did, and sometimes when a player sort of tells you, they're asked like, is there a player that you model yourself on, or that you really like to play
Yeah,
like, similar, whatever.
yeah.
Do you know who he said?
Was it Van Persie?
No,
No. Okay. No.
David Villa, who used to play for Spain.
Wow. 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 Yeah.
He said that's someone that he tries to model his style of play on is David Villa. I thought, okay, that's
Wow.
interesting.
If,
And he
if
said,
we have,
when I get the ball, I'm always trying to look, first and foremost. I'm paraphrasing now, but basically, like, he wants to go for goal rather than pass it sideways or backwards.
if we have a player of that ilk,
He's a forward-thinking player. He's
yeah,
looking for goal-scoring opportunities.
it does look like Mikel Arteta's not got him in the lobby, the hotel lobby by himself. You know what I mean? To restrict what he's doing, if people believe that,
But
I
it's
don't.
early days, right? We've got, we've had a very small sample size. That's what I'm saying. Let's not,
Yeah,
let's not call in the next Mark Overmars just yet.
right. And Rose, the confident Zolas will get 20 goals and assists in the EPL. That's the 10 and 10 you were talking about. You know what I mean? He is that sort of player, more focused on outthinking the opponent than outrunning. He's a clever winger.
So look at me. 1 minute I'm going, let's give him time to breathe, and that. Next minute I'm going, he's going to get 10 goals and 10 assists.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
I'm going to welcome to the show, Alonso, but no appearance fee. There's no appearance fee going in the mail for you. No. You got to be at the training ground, Alonso. If you want to play, you got to be here in the dressing room before you can play. You know what I mean? So that's like
What,
about
what
the
what
end.
charity what charity are you making him donate to his week wages?
I don't know. The wounded Oklahomans.
Oh,
So I have to try and navigate through the day without knowing anything about the football, because
Uh-oh.
I think for me the kickoff is somewhere between 11 to 12 o'clock.
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
It's usually around that time, lunchtime. That is not midnight,
Noon.
lunchtime.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
right in the middle of my working day.
Well, I'm taking the day off tomorrow, so I'll be here.
I was
I'll be
thinking
able
about
to-
that, but I've got stuff to do, so I can watch it when I get home on replay, right, on
Yeah.
football TV or whatever it is. But
Well,
but I have to somehow get through the day and the travel home without listening to anything, without catching a
Impossible.
text. Someone might send a text. I've got to try and not see anything. I can just come in and
you gotta put your
watch.
phone in the lockbox,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Carry the lunchbox all the way home with you.
I
Leave it
might
there.
just turn it off, yeah. Maybe like
Um,
catching it fresh.
what I'm going to predict, let's do predictions and then we'll preview the game. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win, Arsenal.
4-0.
Oh, you're going 4-0. Ah. Goals. No goals against. You got a clean sheet there and you scored 4 goals. And a great way to start
I'm,
the
I'm,
weekend.
I'm expecting this is the sort of game, right? If Gyökeres can't get something out of this game, then you should be worried.
Yeah.
Because one of the arguments I've heard is like, yeah, but against some of them lower teams, that's where he comes in handy. That's where he'll get the goals. Okay, he's had his pre-season last season. He hasn't had a pre-season. He's had a pre-season. I didn't really rate his pre-season. He's had a World Cup. Didn't really rate that. And now our first game of the season is against a promoted team.
You're hard to convince.
A team that he used to play for once upon a time.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So if he can't get on the pitch and get something out of that game, you know what I mean? This should be his bread and butter.
Should be, yeah. You're a hard man to convince on the Gyökeres. You want to see more, right?
I just want to see more, yeah.
Yeah. BX said, let's go for Haaland. Make him our top target for January or next summer.
Wouldn't you think, right? If Havertz is our number, let's say if Havertz is our number one starter in that position, and you're worried about injuries, and we're talking about rotation, wouldn't you start Gyökeres in this game? You paid 65 million for it.
Yeah.
Isn't this the game? It's not like our opening game is Liverpool. You know what I mean?
How do you know he won't go with Gyökeres?
I'm just saying. Okay. I'm just putting it out there, right? Okay. I think he should for these reasons.
Yeah,
if you believe in the player, and you're trying to, Havertz can still be on the bench, but this should be a game that Gyökeres starts, shouldn't it? Should be.
Yeah. Again with Mikel's tendency to pick different types of players that I think he likes Havertz a little bit. I think Mikel likes Havertz
a little bit,
just a little bit. You know what I mean? Do we know anything about Coventry? Obviously, they were in the championship last year.
They have a very old-fashioned. Have a very old-fashioned logo.
Very old-fashioned logo.
Their badge.
Well, that won't get them 3 points. You know that, right?
Yeah, but it looks like it belongs in the 1880s, Harry. Look at that thing.
Well, the elephants.
Just the whole background of it is.
I want to see where they came last season. They won it. Oh, this is Frank Lampard. Stan, Tony.
What?
That's right.
This is Frank Lampard we're up against.
Yeah.
On the other side. So that'd be a little bit of spikes.
What, George?
They won the championship. They won the championship last season with 95 points. So, you know what it's like, Stan. The opening few weeks of the season, these teams have no fear.
Well, they should. We're going against the champions.
Well, we should be walloped. Yeah, we should hit them with the thunder, and they should have some wallop. They should be feeling this thing in their buttocks. You know, good old paddling. We should be giving them a good old paddling, Tony.
What is Coventry's next fixture?
Bend them over the knee, right?
After us. Okay, let me see.
So what did they do to punish you at school in Ireland, right?
The leather strap.
Ooh. How many times did you give a strap, right?
There was a trick. People said you had to like cup cup your hand a little bit so we just go across 2 points in your hand and not flat, right? So had a bit of that.
Coventry's next fixture is on August the 25th.
That wasn't an answer, right?
Plymouth. So that's in the EFL Cup, Plymouth.
Plymouth,
You
But
dodged
then
my
they play.
question.
Then they play Hull.
yeah, which is, for them, that's points, important points, right?
Yeah, and then they play City. So they play Arsenal and City in the first 4 games, first 3 games of the Premier League. So I still remember Mickey Quinn scoring a hat trick at Highbury. You got to remember that, Stan.
Yes, I do. I think I saw something about that recently as well, when I was half asleep on the sofa, funnily enough. But you want to go out there after the back of that
Yes.
Charity Shield match
Yeah.
against Man City, with the dominance that we had there against one of the so-called heirs, or heirs to the of the Premier League, and then if we can go out and get someone like Coventry and really smash them as well, it's the message that sends out.
Yeah.
To everyone else.
Yeah.
It's like they're not fucking about. It doesn't matter whether you're a team that should be at the top of the table like City, or just coming out like Coventry. They're going to smash you.
Yeah. Everyone else
what I mean?
will be watching. Everyone else will be watching this game.
A draw doesn't cut it.
No.
A hard-fought draw doesn't cut it, because if it's going to be a hard-fought draw against Coventry, no disrespect, but just looking at the standings for an Arsenal side of things, it's not good enough.
No.
For your aspirations of what it is that you want to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
This should be, and I don't say it arrogantly, like, of course it's going to be 3 points. It should be 3 points.
It should be 3 points. You're right.
If you're ticking off all of the points over a season, how you win the league, this has to be 3 points. Otherwise,
the league is 38 games, and you need to win at least 26 of those 38 games. And you need to draw. So if you're going to draw some games, you can only have 6 or 7 draws at most if you're going to win 26 games. So that's it's not fine margins. When it's the first game of the season, it's not fine margins because you have plenty of games to make it up. But you would absolutely love to get off to a great start if you're Mikel Arteta and you're the Arsenal players and the Arsenal fans. You'd love to get, maybe we have to guard a little bit against the complacency or there may be some celebrations from a carryover from last season. But the players are the ones who are going to have to go out on the pitch and perform and get the 3 points at the end of the day. The ex-Gunners gone 4-0 as well. Tony, did you have a prediction?
3-1.
3-1. So you're going along the same lines as me. So, yeah, I'd love to score 4 goals and have a clean sheet as well. I'd gladly trade in 3-1 for 4-0 any day of the week. All right, Stan, I think we'll leave it there. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to say, right? I mean,
no, not really.
You have to avoid all types of media tomorrow from noon. Okay. What time do you get home? About 5?
No, I get home about my time, about 4-ish.
4, okay. So you'll be before the game will be over 2 hours when you're getting home. Yeah. Okay. Any final words, Stan?
No, not really. Good to be here. Good to be here to talk to the both of you, and hopefully we're able to start the Premier League off. Here we go. Extra time.
He's Martin Keown.
He jumped the gates, right?
Bring me in, skipper. Put me on. Martin Keown.
But yeah, that's it. That's it, really. And I actually I say hello to Alonso, but I do have to actually go now.
Yes. Are
So
you
I'll see you
still?
guys next week.
What's for supper tonight?
Sausages,
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Turkish spicy sausages that I bought.
Okay. Enjoy them.
See you later, lads.
Maybe
Is that
Good pal.
maybe Stan having Turkish sausages is a little bit of a pointer to
kebab?
Yildiz as the player, the
Kebab?
Turkish player from Juventus that we've been looking for. So, yeah, we'll stick around a little bit longer. Alonso is going to give us some extra energy. The late substitution. You know, you're the substitution when we need a player to chase down. You know who was that guy? The Egyptian, our Egyptian king. He came on.
Alonzo Ray killed the wine bottle.
I would too if I had talked to you, right, Tony?
Oh, nice one, nice
Um,
one, Alonso. He's giving
well,
us a scoreline of 1-1. Right, Tony?
Yep.
That was Tony's prediction. 1-1.
Hey,
tomorrow's game. For tomorrow's game,
Tomorrow's game, yeah. What are you going for? What's your prediction, Alonso?
I'm going for the 4-0 win.
A 4-0 win. All right. It's either 3-1 or 4-0 around
yeah,
here, around Arsenal
yeah,
fan circle.
yeah. I
Real
said
football
3-1.
talk. Come on, you
What did you? What
football.
did you say,
Football is
Ray?
back. What?
What was yours?
3-1. I
Same
went
as
for
mine.
3-1. My life will no longer be boring. Listen, I think this summer we had a good World Cup, so I think this summer was mitigated. We were able to spend some of the summer days watching some good World Cup football. I enjoyed the tournament, probably because I predicted Spain to win it, and I always like to be right. Everybody likes to be right in these situations, but Spain brought the trophy home. Um, Alonso, what are your thoughts on Konza? And are we going to get somebody on the left wing?
They already signed the deal, right?
Yeah, Konza signed for a little bit over 50 million English pounds.
Did they already have the video and all, the introductory video that they always have, or is that gonna be
I
next?
haven't seen the video yet, but I would. Do you think that they probably signed him with a view that he could play tomorrow?
I mean, I
They
think
rushed
so.
through. You know what
You
I mean?
know, he seems ready, and he's in with the Aston Villa club, I guess, since England. I'm sure he had a little break, right, and he had to be involved in Aston Villa's, I guess, preseason stuff they usually do.
Yeah,
However, I was quite surprised that Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice are going to be ready for tomorrow's game. I think
yeah.
that's or not, but
There is an injury to Bruno Guimaraes. I think he picked up a hamstring injury. So Miles Lewis Kelly and Declan Rice probably play in midfield. BX said they're saying that Konza will be unveiled tomorrow.
oh,
So
like the Eze thing, that's right.
well, maybe he doesn't play. You know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't play. They're gonna unveil him. You want to come out onto the field and wave to the fans, but maybe you're not necessarily gonna play. And in any case, I think that Mascara and Ben White maybe should be trusted upon to
Yeah.
keep their place. You know what I mean?
Either way, I mean, I think you could have death, right?
Yeah.
And is Tony okay? Is he falling asleep?
No, he's here.
All right.
I'm
So
here.
Tony.
I think the fact that they
Yes.
have, I think back years ago we always talked about how death was the issue,
Yeah.
and signing Konsa means that Sleep is going to be out for a while. And having a guy like
Yes.
that who just came off a very good, in my opinion, a very good World Cup, he could play right back when needed. And Timber's been out for a while, so I think with Andrew Berta when he sees something like an injury, a long-term injury, most of the time he'll get it right by signing players like at depth, right? Remember last year when Havertz was out for a long time, right? And then they're trying to find that player, and God willing, Eze fell into our hands when he said no thanks to Tottenham and it's time for Arsenal, right? So it takes a while usually, but for Berta to nail down a player that late, this late in the transfer window, is pretty impressive. And where in the past he said Edu do the same thing, most times it hasn't worked out because they waited so long for said player to come through the transfer market, and it ends up being we waited too long, and it ends up being not a done deal. So Andrea Berta has done a good job by not only filling needs, but also knowing the situation that happened with Saliba or in others, he could narrow down that player in a matter of days or weeks. So there's a plan there, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think we have that flexibility between the two positions and that one player. Mosquera, I think, has deputized very well there as well. So we're gonna miss a player like Saliba. This is the World Cup hangover effect that I was talking about. After having a full season, but definitely excited for tomorrow.
And it's a shame that Timber hasn't really stayed fit in the past when he's in Arsenal. He hasn't had a full season that I could think of. Maybe one season that where he was healthy and played a whole season. We just haven't had the unfortunate when he had an injury to his leg. It seemed like he never is the same as far as staying healthy. And he's a good player when he's healthy, but you can't depend on him now.
Yeah. All right. I think we will leave it there. Alonso, thanks for joining, for dropping in
Hmm.
at the end here. Appreciate you. Are you excited for the game tomorrow? Football's back, right?
Yeah, I am. I got, I got the New Jersey. I got the red one.
Yeah. Then that's a nice. That's nice. That
Yeah,
jersey's nice, right?
and I got Eze number 10 on there too. So
You got what?
Eze number 10.
Oh, you got Eze's 10 in there.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that Eze gets a decent amount of games. I'm fearful because of Odegaard coming. Listen, I like Odegaard to be coming back and being a big factor in our season, but I'd like Eze to get some minutes as well. You know?
I think with Eze, you know, he'll make it right because we all know Odegaard. Yeah, he showed potential what he can do, in the World Cup in the World Cup and against City.
Yeah,
But I think Arteta is smart and realizes that Eze is a good player as well. So I want to assume that Arteta is going to manage that position very closely.
yeah, for sure. I think if you guys are interested, we might wait till the window closes, but we might bring back the upset challenge if you're all interested in doing that.
Yeah, because so I could
Tony's
so I could
smiling a little bit.
so I could really regain my claim as undefeated champion. A champion, not
Yes,
2 years
you
ago.
did what you did what in 1 year. I think Tony's interested in that. He just perked up a little bit there. His blood
Yeah,
sugar just went up just
but
a
we
little.
both know he's going to probably scheme and plot his way into getting in first place, even though.
Yeah, I know. Anagram, Tony, anagram Turner.
And I sent you a photo, right?
Yes, you did. We'll always have Selhurst Park. It's very fitting that.
Covered. Coventry City Savings Community Arena or
It's a
whatever the
long,
fuck that thing's.
it's a long title. I hope that Rebecca, what's her name, is practicing that right now. Right?
Rest said his wife banks with him.
What's her name? Rebecca. You've got it, Alonzo.
Bigelow.
Oh, that's it. Rebecca Lowe. Hope she's practicing that long title right now as we speak. All right. Well, Tony, take us out of here. Alonzo, thanks for being here tonight. And we'll see you on the next one. Right? Come on, you Gunners. Let's get 3 points tomorrow.
Good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
Tournament.
T Dog.